What's up, Rona Squad? This is JT Corona once again on the mic, back at it again with more hard-hitting Pokemon action. How's it going, guys? Today we have a good episode. Today we're doing something a little bit different. Typically speaking, we do battles. We hop on doubles ranked, see how we do, and then we might, take some time to breed new Pokemon. We might take some time to battle with you guys, the fans, on Max Lair. We might shiny hunt. We might do a multitude of things, but today is a different day. Today, we're going to make this channel's first ever tier list. Now, one unfortunate part of Max Lair, there's not many unfortunates, but one unfortunate part is that you are forced to use a rental Pokemon whenever you go into the Max Lair. You cannot use one of your own. Now, there are many different Pokemon that you can get, and of course, many Pokemon that you can then swap when you go through your Max Raid adventure. To count them out, it's over 200. It's actually more than I thought it was. This is going to take a long time. This is going to be a long video, but we're going to take it all down in one shot. And yeah, we're just going to systematically go one by one and judge them against each other and then put them on the tier list that you have in front of you. Now, this list I am hoping is a complete and comprehensively full list of the Pokemon in the Max Raid. Luckily for us, or Max Lair, luckily for us, they are listed in order by the whole Pokedex as a whole, starting with Ivysaur, and ending all the way down here. But yeah, if we're missing anything, we'll probably figure it out really soon. So what are we going to do? Really quickly. So what are we going to do here? We're going to stack these Pokemon based on their offensive prowess against random Max Lair Pokemon. Obviously, some Pokemon that are lower in the tier list can probably outperform the top tiers given certain matchups. But seeing as how there are a multitude, there is a lot. There's over, I believe, 20 different legendaries that we'd be fighting at the end of the day. We're going to take the randomized, what is a good Pokemon for me to use more times than not kind of approach, right? With that said, I on the side did some a little research, some calculating based on the types of the legendaries that we see. I'm going to say off the bat that certain types are going to have an offensive advantage. Now, we're going to look definitely more so at the types of moves our Pokemon have. So Pokemon that have a lot of different types in their attacks, especially ones that go with their stats. Attacking moves for high attack Pokemon as opposed to like some Pokemon that unfortunately have a high attack stat but a good special attack that goes with it. Unfortunately, it's a bad mix. So we're gonna go after Pokemon that have coverage for high frequency weaknesses of the legendaries. I wrote down a list here off to the side. I have that on the side. I'm going to reference it often. Giving 2 points, of course, to quad weaknesses. So off the bat, I'm going to tell you right now that ice typing, as far as I can see, I could be wrong. I kind of did this list in 20 minutes. There's a lot of, thinking. You got to do a lot of rock, paper, scissors thinking when you're looking at all the legendaries and all their typings and what they're weak against. But as far as I can tell from my quick assessment. Ice typing reigns supreme. It has the most amount of super effectiveness against the legendaries. Right neck and neck with it, you're going to have rock typing, ground typing, dark, and even ghost, right? So those are your top tier move users. So if you have one of those moves and it goes with your stats, you're going to usually be higher up on the list. Conversely, in terms of Pokemon that don't have as effective moves, psychic typing, flying, steel, grass. I'm looking at you guys. So if you guys are primarily of those typings with your attacks, you may not be boating as well. In addition to that, we're not just going to be looking at attacks. Some Pokemon have great support moves. Some Pokemon have great support abilities that might bump them up the tier list, right? And also, we're going to keep in mind, sometimes some Pokemon drastically improve if you meet up with a backpacker, right? Or they drastically improve when barriers are out on the field, right? So we're going to keep this in mind. Those are going to have less of an effect, but still be weighed in our decisions of their placement in the tier list. So with that said, I'm going to throw this out there. Last thing, this is just my opinion. I'm sure there are many people out there who are going to be way better at assessing these Pokemon than me. I'm just giving it a shot because I don't think anybody has done this yet. So, long intro out of the way. It's going to be a long video, but long intro out of the way. With that said, let's get into it. The first Pokemon. The first Pokemon is Ivysaur. Now, Ivysaur is the middle evolution starter Pokemon are probably gonna be somewhere in the middle to the middle below. Ivysaur with middling stats has Grass Pledge, Solar Beam, Synthesis, Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb and Grass Pledge are decent. Unfortunately, Grass typing does not have very, very high utility. Neither does Poison. It do well if Sun was out, but then again, Sun could also negatively affect Ivysaur with its fire type weakness. The only real thing that really stands out here is Sludge Bomb. Again, with Poison being a middle of the road attack, albeit with Stab, but with Poison being a middle of the road attack and that being its best option, unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to rank it in the below average tier. Synthesis, anything that's recovery based is going to be awesome. If you put this Ivysaur, if Ivysaur off the bat came out in Sun, he'd probably be in B tier. But, with not many things setting up Sun, unless you have like a Dynamax on your side and they just so happen to use Max Flare or something like that, it's going to be hard to take advantage of some of the things that Ivysaur can do well. So with that said, he's going to be in the D tier. So with that said, let's go into Charmeleon. Charmeleon comes in with Dragon Pulse, Fire Pledge, Endure, and Inferno. Inferno is unfortunately a low accuracy move, but for a lot of legendaries, Burning is actually going to be kind of effective. So when we look at its stats really fast, I believe it's more of a special attacker than an attacker. Yep, we're right in saying that. So its attacks kind of do sort of go in that direction. There is nothing here that is a physical attack, and again, Burning is good. Burning is good. If you can burn your legendary that you're fighting, lower its damage output, it can't be reset with the move that it throws out there of resetting stats from it and other Pokemon. So for that reason, I'm gonna put Charmeleon, and of course it comes up. I think Max Inferno is like what when it comes to Dynamax. Dynamax, it's 100 base power. Yeah, Max Flare. Yeah. So it's gonna come out pretty strong. So with that said, I'm gonna put it a tier. I'm gonna put it in the average tier. It's still, it's still not a fully evolved Pokemon, so its defensive utility is not gonna be as strong. It doesn't have access to recovery of any kind. But because it can burn and do damage at the same time, albeit at 50%, I'm going to put him in the C tier because I believe he is indeed average. With that said, let's go into Wartortle. Now, Wartortle, I think is going to be right there with Charmeleon. And the main reason why is because of its coverage, right? We have fighting, we have water, and we have ice. And not only do we have coverage of stab water with a high power attack and that last ditch we need damage right now, but you also have a 100% accuracy move in Water Pledge. So if you don't want to take the risk of the of accuracy, you do have Water Pledge. Ice is humongous. Ice is huge. Ice is the most important typing, or it's up there. Ice and Rock, very, very debatable as the most desirable move to have in your slot. So he is gonna go at least with Ivysaur. In fact, it might actually be bumped up a peg because fighting is fighting is kind of below average. Water is decent. So its attack spread is really good. There's a reason why we have so many tiers is because it's gonna be hard to kind of say that. If we were to have just 5 tiers, oh god, would this be hard. But this is, we're in a place where you're kind of splitting hairs. I believe that Wartortle actually deserves to go in B tier, just because it has access to Ice Beam. Ice Beam is is of huge importance. I do think it has a little bit of bulk to it. Let me just look at its stats really fast. I believe it does have some defensive bulking, which bodes well against some of those Pokemon that do take the ice typing poorly. Yeah, it does have some bulk. Its highest stats are in defense, so it's going to live for a little bit, albeit not super powerful. If its HP stat was higher, you might even be talking about an A tier Pokemon. But since it's only a mid tier, since it's only a mid evolution, it's going to be a B tier Pokemon. It was almost A, but we'll keep it in that tier. Raichu. Ooh, we have a miss here. So I wonder if Butterfree. So yeah, Butterfree is missing. So I'm going to talk about Butterfree on the side because I don't see him. I think that's the first unfortunate miss. And I wonder if because I see Durulodon. I was going to say I wonder if the Yeah, sorry, the Gigantamax Pokemon are missing, but I see Orbeetle too, so it's not that. Um, if we see Butterfree later on, then yeah, we'll add him in. But for right now, we're gonna talk about Butterfree off to the side. Butterfree is a little bit lackluster, so going into him really fast. Even with Gigantamax, it's kind of it's not a great Gigantamax. Oh, I pushed on my bad. Let me go back. Come on. Yeah, Butterfree. There you go. There you go. I don't know why I clicked on Tinted Lens there for a second. Humongous defensive weakness against against rock typing. So some very, very key weaknesses that, a bunch are going to have. Um, Let me just look for a second. Gmax Befuddle. Yeah, I mean, putting a status on a legendary Pokemon is good, but it could be just poison. Poison is eh. Paralysis is decent, so it's okay. It's all right. If we are able to Gigantamax, which of course you're gonna have partners, so it's only like a 1 out of 4 chance you'll even have access to that in the first place. Very, very middling stats. Not much higher than the meta evolutions of the starters. Looking at its moveset again, it's going to only have primarily bug and grass typing. Grass typing is not strong to have. I'll say that right now. Bug typing is okay. It's kind of in the middle. Poison typing is again kind of meh. So with that said, he's probably going to be like right in the middle. You do have redirection with Rage Powder, but seeing as how Butterfree is not bulky, he's not a bulky type at all. He is not really going to be using that too often. Now, Polywrath is interesting, helping out with healing of allies. That is one piece of utility that's actually kind of good. So this is actually kind of hard. So it kind of comes down to like if we want to have like some defensive utility or some attack ability. And honestly, you're going to want to go one way or the other. Butterfree is kind of looking like jack of all trades ishy kind of, as opposed to really doing one thing trait well. So with that said, we're going to put Butterfree into the C tier, high C tier, borderline B, but high C tier. With that said, let's go into Raichu. Raichu is a bit unfortunate. I'm not going to lie. Throwing up Light Screen is okay. When it comes to screen setting Pokemon in this tier list, I prefer to see both Light Screen and Reflect, because obviously for half the legendaries that we thank you, for half the Pokemon that we throw out there, Light Screen is going to do absolutely nothing. If we had a Pokemon that was an electric terrain setter, if we had a Pincurchin on the team, or if there was a way of doing the thing where we could kind of set a terrain, Raichu with Rising Voltage would suddenly catapult itself pretty high up the list. But with just Rising Voltage and just Focus Blast or Focus Miss, we're not really talking about a particularly strong Pokemon. Now, the electric typing is a bit above average, but as we all know, Raichu does not have a really, really strong stats, and its fighting typing doesn't have a ton of utility. So he's kind of limited in what he can do. Speed Swap, at the expense of weakening yourself, can help in certain situations, but with that said, he doesn't really have much utility, so we're going to put him in he's almost E tier in my opinion, but for now we're going to put him in D tier, and if something, knocks him down a few pegs, then we will reassess at that point. He is borderline D, though. I mean, actually, I'll put him in E. He actually might be an E tier Pokemon. I mean, the speed is good. Raichu's speed is very good, and getting the jump on certain Pokemon and max, these things is good. But his coverage is not great. This is tough. I'll give him D for now, but we'll see if that changes as we go further down the list. And next we have a Lowland Raichu. A Lowland Raichu is a bit better. It is able to set up its own electric terrain and use Surge Surfer, so it not only helps it set with electric terrain, but you also have access to 2 strong stab moves in Thunderbolt and Psychic. Unfortunately for it, Psychic is perhaps the weakest attacking type in max Lairs. So you're kind of stuck with Thunderbolt. You're almost never going to use Round. Round is like a complete waste of a slot. Decent attacks coming out neutrally for the most part. Raichu can, again, he's speedy. Set up that terrain. He's definitely going to be going first. I'm saying he's better than Raichu. You know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to put Raichu there. We're going to put a low-end Raichu here. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to stick with that and continue on. A low-end Sandslash. All right, a low-end Sandslash with Crush Claw, Stomping Tantrum, Stone Edge, and Leash Life. We do have access to 2 very, very important types with Ground and Rock typing. We have good defense, not exactly the greatest speed, and we have some recovery and Leash Life. And Bug is surprisingly average. And he's a good offensive typing. You just kind of sort of got to hope that indeed the Stone Edge doesn't become Stone Mist. But if you're, hitting more times than not, which is what you should be doing, put these 2 moves together. So I just for some reason thought that Stomping Tantrum for some reason might be a special attack, which it's not. Put it all together, Raichu is actually pretty solid. He has a lot of the things that go well into a lot of the legendaries. So he is definitely an above average Pokemon. I'm not going to say quite an A tier Pokemon, but a strong B tier Pokemon regardless. We're going to put him in front of Wartortle. I'm probably not going to rank these guys all entirely based on their ranks within the tier, but sometimes when I kind of feel like something is on the weaker side, I might do that just for further assessment in case something bumps it up or down a tier when something else comes aboard. Like if one tier is just way overpopulated, we might spread it out a little bit based on, some reassessment on what else it's being compared to. But with that said, let's go into a low-end Sandslash. A low-end Sandslash is really cool. Avalanche, Rock Slide, Brick Break, and Swords Dance. So this is pretty cool. If you ever had access to Max Hailstorm or just Hail, you would have some decent speed coming out of Sandslash. Let me just see what Sandslash's base speed is. Is it over 50? I forget if it's over 50 or not. If it's like 60-ish, yeah, it's 60. It's 65. Yeah, low-end Sandslash's base speed is 65. And that goes with what's Snowcloak? Oh, hang on, Snowcloak. Am I saying that right? Snowcloak is it double speed? Raises evasion. I messed that one up. So it's just evasion. So if we're in a world where Sandslash and low-end Sandslash are doubling their speed off of their own G-Max move, that'd be awesome. But that would make them a tad overpowered. That would make them probably A-tier Pokemon. Unfortunately for a low-end Sandslash, though, that is not the case. But with that said, it has access to the top 2 most broken types when it comes to fighting legendaries in Ice and Rock. It has Brick Break for more coverage, which, albeit being just average, is still good. And then Swords Dance for setup, which again you're probably not going to be doing too often, but it's an option, right? It's another option just to kind of max yourself out, boost yourself up. There's going to be certain circumstances where you don't want to knock your wild legendary Pokemon below half health because all of a sudden it's attacking twice instead of once. So if you're able to get that setup off and wreak some havoc, you are doing pretty well. So I'm going to put a low-end Sandslash in A tier. Actually, I think a low-end Sandslash is going to be our first A tier Pokemon. It's a low A tier Pokemon. It's a little bit under Sandslash in my personal opinion. The Sandslashes are good. I might actually end up putting both Sandslashes in A tier when it's all said and done. They would definitely both be strong A tier contenders if they had the other, if it was, Slush Rush and Sand Force, if that was the case. Or Sand Rush, I mean. But they don't. So, they are both borderline A, B. I just think that, the typing of I think a low-end Sandslash is Ice typing with the Ice and that over. Oh, it's close. It's really close. Do I put them both in A tier? I think I put them both in A tier. I put them both in A tier for right now. To be assessed further on, they're both very good. These are both Pokemon that if you see in the opening, selection screen, you're probably hopping on them ASAP. But they're both, in that. Lowland Sandslash a little bit higher than Sandslash, but they're both in that like A B tier. Whereas like War Turtle is like a solid B tier candidate. Not quite S though. But with that said, let's keep on going. So let's go to Neato Queen. So Neato Queen, Poison Point with Scorching Sand, Venom Shock, Charm, and Shadow Ball. Now Neato Queen, let me just look at your stats. I think they're pretty uniform. I don't think she really has like a high special. She's specially bulky. Yeah, okay, yeah. So her, unfortunately for her, this is one of those circumstances where albeit it could be much worse. It could be much worse, but a couple of her attacks are coming off of a 75 base. 75 base special attack, and actually all three of them are. Yeah, Scorching Sands is going to be a special attack, pretty sure, right? Yep, they're all special attack. Ground and Poison. Ground is good, Poison not as much. It's not as useful. And Shadow Ball is good. It's very good. Ghost is up there. It's very close. It's like at the top 5 for sure, like we were mentioning before. But most unfortunately for it, it's not taking advantage of its stats, right? It's not using any attacking moves. These are all, unfortunately for it, these are all special attacks as opposed to physical attacks. Charm is cool. Charm is, not useless. Charm does have some utility. Neato Queen is also plagued by a lot of weaknesses. So Neato Queen, unfortunately, is probably going to fall into the C tier with Charmeleon, just because its stats are not being used to its best effect. On the other hand, you have Nidoking with high horsepower, Fire Punch, Ice Punch, and Thunder Punch. Yo. All right, Stab Ground with high horsepower. Some coverage with Fire, right? Fire not being the strongest, but still average. Ice Punch and Thunder Punch. Like, there's not really much more you could ask for in a Dynamax Pokemon in these raids. Yeah, let me just look at his stats really fast. I believe it has over 100 base attack. Pretty sure that's the case. Also, Rivalry. A lot of legendaries do not have a gender. So Rivalry, it's a 50-50, right? It's a 50-50. Yeah, it's a 50-50. So unfortunately, Rivalry probably it doesn't. It's either great or it's bad or it's nothing. So it's even. It's even. Do I wish it didn't have it? Probably. But it is as good as it is bad. So I can kind of call it a wash. But yes, with the base 102 attack stat, okay defenses, this might be a candidate for S tier. Extremely good coverage, good attacks, like decent bulk, full evolution. In its own weird way, like Fire Punch, like I mean, I just did a bunch of Kartana raids. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Nidoking is just OHKOing Kartana with... Actually, it wouldn't be OHKOing, it's just going defense side. If it's doing half damage to Kartana by itself, even as a non-fire type. So Nidoking might be the first S tier Pokemon. That is really good. It's amazing how much, like, just the right moves in the right situation, because these both have the same base stat totals. Just, when you use your stats right, it's amazing how, like, much of a difference that the two can... really create in a Pokemon. That is a 3-tier swing with that being the case. So yeah, Nidoking for now awarded the first S tier spot. Moving on next, we have Clefairy. Clefairy with Friend Guard. It is a Friend Guard Clefairy, which is really cool. This is not going to be an attacking Pokemon whatsoever. You're not going to use this guy for his offensive prowess. Now, could you use Mystical Fire into Kartana? You betcha. But Fire is not particularly great. It's right in the middle. And Grass typing is actually one of the worst typings, and neither of these are Stab. But what you're doing is you're actually setting up to help your friends, right? If you were able to get Eviolite off the bat, this Pokemon ascends to A tier status probably, maybe even S tier status. You're going to always want to go in the direction of the backpackers to give yourself as many chances as you can at that Eviolite to be basically a life dew spammer. It's unfortunate for Clefairy that you only have 10 power points for life dew. You're also a reflex setter, which is pretty decent too. So because of that, because you could help out your team, it's going to be one of the better support mons in the league. We're going to put Clefairy only because it doesn't have Eviolite. If it had Eviolite off the bat, we're talking, very, very solid A tier. But because it doesn't, we're relying on its, its high HP and okay bulk. We're probably going to put it in the B tier for now. It's definitely above average. You're going to want it more times than not, but it's not great, unfortunately. It's good. It's good, not great. So let's go to Clefable. And we are jumping on through. Magic Guard is pretty cool. Meteor Beam, Dazzling Gleam, Follow Me, and Cosmic Power. Now, unfortunately for Clefable, it has 2 moves that you're going to kind of rarely use. Yes, you could use Follow Me to solidify the last turn if it's 2 hearts left, and you have 1 Pokemon that is really slow on your side and it needs to finish its setup or whatever. Meteor Beam, it's okay, but that's almost never going to be used. Cosmic Power, you look like a jerk, so kind of setting that up. You have no recovery, so all you're doing is setting up defense with no recovery, unless you have a Citrus Berry maybe. But even then, you're kind of like dead weight on your team. You're looking actually kind of selfish if you're going in that direction, unfortunately. So that kind of leaves Dazzling Gleam and Meteor Beam. Meteor Beam is a strong move, but it's like Solar Beam. It takes 1 turn to set up, and it's not even 100% accurate. And then Dazzling Gleam, it's just better as a spread offense. It's not great at, singular offense. There's better moves. Moonbeam is much better. So this is a situation where, again, Clefairy is going to be better than Clefable, and probably by a decent margin. Am I knocking Clefable all the way down into D tier? It's a strong D tier. It could be C tier. Because Dazzling, Fairy typing is decent and Rock typing is decent, but again, you do have to set up with the Meteor Beam. You do have to do that first. Can a Pokemon just be average based off of 2 moves? Is that possible? It is possible. It's a strong candidate for D tier or for C tier. We'll put him at the Bombasi. He's probably average. What's his stat total again? What is the Clefable stat total? So Clefable. I know it has decent defensive bulk. Okay, special attack. All right. A special attack is all right. Yeah, we'll give it C tier for now. Moving on, we have Jigglypuff. Now Jigglypuff substitute Light Screen, Fake Tears, Draining Kiss with Friend Guard. Now Friend Guard is cool. Don't get me wrong, it is cool. But we're also in a place where Light Screen, again, I would rather have Reflect, or I'd rather have both on the same Pokemon as opposed to only having 1. Fake Tears is decent to help your team lower special defense. But this thing is so limited. It's like it's Clefairy if Clefairy was bad. This is not good at all, if I'm being honest. It's gonna be low. I'm telling you right now, this is gonna be a low Pokemon. Yeah, what kind of offensive ability do you even have? You're not using you for offense. Terrible putrid defenses. Again, very, very high HP, but putrid defenses. No speed, draining punch, what is it? Draining kiss is what, 60 base? Draining kiss. Draining Kiss, 50 base power. This is bad. This is a bad mon. This is one you're going to be skipping almost every single time. I almost feel bad for putting it in the same tier as Raichu. F. Yeah, no, Raichu. We're doing Raichu dirty if that's what's going there. You know what? With that said, we're also going to bring Clefable down a peg too, because I don't think it's any better than a low-end Raichu. It's not. So Clefable can go down a peg. And yeah, we have our first F tier Pokemon in Jigglypuff. It's not a pretty story. It's not a nice story for that Pokemon. Moving on, we have Wigglytuff. Dazzling Gleam, Expanding Force. So unfortunately, it does have two situations where it's using the um, okay moves as opposed to the better singular move. Round again is pretty much useless. Sweet Kiss. I mean, Sweet Kiss has a little bit of utility, but Confusion is the weakest of the status ailments. It's not nearly as good as it used to be. Being dropped down from 50%, effectiveness down to 33% is not great. And Wigglytuff does not have a strong special attack stat by any means. I believe it's like, what is it? It's like surprisingly low. It's like what, 50? Oh, it's 85. I was not anticipating that. Okay, so it's a little bit stronger than I thought it was. Again, high defense, not high defenses, but high HP stat gives it that. Competitive is probably your biggest saving grace here. There are a bunch of Pokemon that do use stat lowering moves. And if you get hit by that, your special attack suddenly becomes pretty good. Fairy is okay. Psychic is kind of meh. I will say that, though. So because it has some bulk to it, it's definitely a worse Wigglytuff, or a worse Clefable. So Clefable is going to go up here towards the high end of D tier. Wigglytuff is going to be more so down on the end. So I'll put Raichu here. Put a low one Raichu here. He's right in the middle. I might actually boost him up. I'll boost him up one. I'll bump him up a peg. Raichu, like, it doesn't have the best moves, but it's better than what's going on below it. So he's right in the middle somewhere. So we'll bump the low one Raichu up there. Unfortunately, regular Raichu is kind of stuck where he is. But yes, we go into Gloom. I don't think the Gloom story is going to be that great either. So Venoshock, Toxic, Moonblast, Blast, and Sunspore. We have two status moves, which means that one of them by default is going to be a complete wash. Almost every single time you're going to go for Sunspore to give your team the speed advantage. But even with that speed advantage, Gloom is so slow that you're not going to really be outspeeding much, even when it comes to legendaries, even when they are paralyzed. I believe that I keep doing that. I believe that Gloom has a speed stat under 50 for sure. It might even be under 40. So even with paralysis up, it might not be. It's a 40. It's a 40 base speed. Okay stats. The defenses are kind of the HP is definitely it's definitely a little bit suspect. It's kind of screaming to me like a potential below average. I mean, Venoshock is kind of a wash with Toxic. Toxic can do some damage on its own, but you're probably throwing out Venoshock to poison to get the extra cumulative chip passive damage, and then Moonblast is better than the Dazzling Gleams that we've been seeing so far. I think it's kind of funny that some of these Pokemon like Jigglypuff only have Draining Kiss through a TM, so they came in contact with a TM along the way. I think that's kind of funny. But Gloom is just kind of limited by its move pool. So Gloom is going to be on the below average side. He's probably going to be down here with Raichu. He's a strong E, but he's still an E regardless. So he's limited by its moves. Fairy typing is pretty strong. Fairies are, where did I put Fairy? Yeah, Fairy is like, it's high metal. It's definitely in the upper metal. It could do some damage, but I'm also thinking of a bunch of the Pokemon that that Fairy typing would go into, and unfortunately for Gloom, they have other moves that would do a lot more damage to it than it will to them. So for that reason, we're going to put it down in E tier. All right, so next up we have Vileplume. Vileplume, again, with Chlorophyll, with Giga Drain, Grassy Terrain, Toxic, and Pollen Puff. It kind of falls into a similar situation with Butterfree, who we were putting in the C tier. It kind of is just very, very reminiscent of it. It's supportive, has some healing. It can heal its teammates to an effect. It's not really dishing out much in the way of damage. So kind of like Butterfree, we're gonna put it in we'll put it in C tier. It's a fully evolved Pokemon, has the stats that reflect that, has some staying power, doesn't get outright destroyed by a ton. It can lay down a Toxic and then heal around. Unfortunately for its recovery move for itself, Grass is one of the weakest typings. So if it wasn't, if these moves were on Gloom, we're talking about a very, very clear, much clearer than it is already, but like definitely E tier. Vileplume with its stats, but had the same thing. It's going down, but it's a little bit better only because it's fully evolved. Moving on up, we have Dugtrio. Dugtrio with speed, good attack, not a lot of staying power. Sand Force is there for it. Let's look at Dugtrio really fast. It is a speedy dude. It's going to outspeed a lot of the legendaries and drop some heavy damage before it dies. The issue is that he's incredibly frail. So you are kind of blessed with the fact that unless it's a spread move coming out of your opponent, chances are it's probably not going to be targeting you down. So there's that, but a 120 base speed is nothing to scoff at. 100 base attack coming with 2 of the strongest attacks that you could ask for in Rock Slide and High Horsepower especially. Unfortunately, it's not super accurate. That is going to keep it definitely from being S tier. Is it still an A tier? I don't think so because, again, its bulk is just it's kind of scary. The bulk is kind of scary. You're going to be losing a bunch of hearts with Dugtrio. He's definitely going to be that you want to pick him up later on as opposed to getting him early on in the adventure. Like you are probably drafting him, but you're not feeling great about your draft pick with Dugtrio. So with that said, he's definitely above average. He's going to be a high B tier candidate. Put him here. Not as strong as his, Sand True Brethren for sure because of its bulk. I'd rather have the bulk than the speed in this situation, but still a useful mon regardless. All right, so let's go to a Lowland Dugtrio. Looking like a slightly worse version of Dugtrio, might be a tier changer. Sucker Punch is a little bit wasted because it's already very fast, albeit Dark typing has some really good coverage to it. Dark typing is actually one of the better types you'd want. You sacrifice Rock Slide for Sucker Punch. You have the chance of it not doing anything if you're not being targeted. Iron Head is okay. Steel typing is like it's below average. It's actually not one of the good types at all. It's definitely towards the bottom. So Iron Head is okay. High Horsepower is going to be the main attack. Screech is decent for lowering defense too. So I think it's not. I think it's right there with Dugtrio. Honestly, I think they're like right next to each other. I thought off the bat that regular Dugtrio was better, but Sucker Punch actually does have some utility. Dark typing is valuable, so we'll put them right next to each other as they probably were intended to be. All right, next one we have Persian. Persian with Facade, Play Rough, Feint, and Round. Round again is a complete waste of a move, and again it's Feint. Let's see, so. Yeah, Feint is pretty much a wash as well. There's not many times you're going to see Protected Attack coming out of your opponent. So that kind of leaves you with Facade and Play Rough. Play Rough is pretty strong. Fairy typing is good. It's kind of, upper middle. But it's not that great. Facade only really kicks in if you have status afflicted on you, which hopefully you don't. If you do, you're probably looking to trade off of that Pokemon as soon as possible. So that using that disadvantage to your advantage is not going to be great. Middling stats, very low stats. So this is actually looking like a below average Pokemon. We're going to put a Persian in the D tier. Better than Wigglytuff, but not by that much. All right, so now we have a Lowland Persian. A Lowland Persian again, this time on the special attack side. It's more specially attacking. Let's see. Assurance, Snarl, Feint, and Quash. Quite a limited Pokemon. Assurance does not have much power points. Snarl is okay. All I read here is meh. Is Quash really usable for this? I guess if you're in a situation where you're kind of like have your Dynamax target and checkmate and you want to quash it to make sure your opponents can get something out, I find it to be you're just limited to dark. All you can do is dark attack and support with quash. That's what you're doing here, and of course support with Snarl is okay too, lowering special attack on legendaries. So it does have some utility. It's just not bulky at all. This thing dies really, really fast. 60, 65, and 65. Yeah. So it's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna put it above Persian, but still in the same tier. it's just limited, unfortunately. Like what it does pretty well. I'm not gonna lie, but it's just limited by its move pool. It doesn't have anything over that. If it had Snarl and then like like Moonblast or like I don't know if Persian can even learn Moonblast, but if it had another move instead of Assurance, probably. I would probably be considering it to be average, but because of how limited it is, we're going to keep it down there in that tier. Golduck. Golduck has been a Pokemon that I've used a few times, like probably more than I would think I do, and I am disappointed by it every single time I play it with it. So let's look at its stats really fast. It's not going to be remarkably good. 500 is okay. It is a you look at the stats and you're like, okay, they're pretty uniform across the board, but the thing is, its attacks just suck. Aqua Jet coming off of this Pokemon does absolutely nothing. Brine only really picks up steam once you're over the half health barrier, and even then, it's not. There's way better things that you would want. Swift Swim is kind of cool, but not many times does rain go up. Mega Kick misses way too much, and then there's Screech. So he's going to be a below average Pokemon as well. I'm going to put Golduck in the D tier as well. D tier is looking pretty pretty populated. However, we have another guy coming up who's actually quite a bit better. This one will not be going in D tier, I'll tell you that right now. So we have Poliwrath coming up with Drain Punch, Body Slam, Coaching, and Liquidation. I love Coaching. There's a few moves that I absolutely love on our Pokemon. Coaching is one of them. If we're in a situation where Drain Punch or Liquidation, both coming off of its good attack stat, are not the most useful, because again, fighting is a little bit below average. Water typing is above average. So we're talking about decent moves. Body Slam with the chance of paralysis is always cool too. But Coaching is such a great support move for your team. Just boosting attack and defense all the way around. I mean, Coaching is a great move in doubles, but make it into a quad situation. Oh man, is that good? So anybody that has Coaching like instantly is at least average. The question is, am I putting him in A tier? Like, Poliwrath is a absolute slam dunk yes, more times than not when you see him. He has self-healing and Drain Punch. Liquidation does do some good damage. Water Absorb is cool. It is absolutely cool. So I'm actually going to put Poliwrath in the A tier. Poliwrath deserves to be up here in the A tier. Poliwrath is very, very, very solid. Yes, I would say he is that much better than War Turtle for sure. So I'm actually kind of curious. Did I put War Turtle too high? Ice Beam is always great. Ice Beam, it has a lot of, yeah, that works. Yeah, Raichu is just so damn limited. It's so unfortunate. I wonder if I overrated a Lone Raichu. He's to be seen. We'll put him at the bottom of C tier, but I'm just kind of looking up for a second. But yeah, very good. Kadabra, not so good, unfortunately. Psyshock is kind of meh. Round again is crap. Indoors, bogus, and then you have Dazzling Gleam. Kadabra is very fast, and he could do damage, but Psyshock is so unfortunate. You would much rather rather have just about any psychic move besides this. Going off of, it does physical damage, like it does that. Like, you would much rather have psychic or a lot of other moves in that role besides that. He is limited by its offensive prowess. It's very, very frail. It's going to go down really quick. Endure is completely useless or almost completely useless. So that reason I'm going to put him down in E tier. He has potential to easily be much higher than this, but he's just very, very, very limited by its move pool. Not really impressed by it whatsoever. I mean, it's possibly a D tier Pokemon, but it can go either way. It's a high E tier. It's a high E tier. So next is Machoke. Dynamic Punch, Rock Tomb, Payback, and Coaching. So again, we have another Coacher. Coaching is very good. No Guard Dynamic Punch is always really cool. No Guard Rock Tomb, you would prefer Rock Slide or other moves, but the speed drop is okay. And Payback is actually has a surprising amount of utility. He is on the slower side, so Payback might actually hit for its full effectivity. It's not obviously a Machamp. If it was Machamp with these moves, you'd be talking about possibly an S tier Pokemon. And not being a fully evolved Pokemon definitely knocks it down a bit, but 100 base attack is still nothing to scoff at regardless. Defense is It's but it's still a good Pokemon all the way around. You know, again, Confusion is the weakest of the status, but it's a good added effect. You know, coming off of a 100 base attack that's automatically going to hit. And never mind Coaching. So we're going to put him in the B tier, and he's a high B tier Pokemon. Possibly even A tier, but Polywrath, I think, edges it out a little bit with its own self-recovery moves and everything. They're pretty close, though. Tentacool is next. Water Pulse, Hydro Pump, Poison Jab, and Swords Dance. The only move that is benefited by Swords Dance is Poison Jab, whereas the other moves are just kind of You have a situation where you kind of like said before with, I think it was War Turtle that had the Hydro Pump and Grass Pledge, or Water Pledge situation. You can go with the high accuracy or, you know, the higher risk, higher reward. Clear Body is okay, not a bad, you know, thing there. Poison Jab is alright. Water typing is okay. Poison is also okay. This guy screams just okay. Somewhere in the average, somewhere in the middle. Very good special defense. I will say he'll be around for a while, but the more I look at it, the more I do think that he kind of screams, you know, right here. He's a good C tier mon. Kind of limited by its moves. 2 stabs, you know what? 2 stabs. I think it's a little bit above average. It's not great, but it's a little bit above average. You'll take Tentacool over these guys, pretty sure, right? Pretty sure. So yeah, he's a little bit above average. Yeah. It's actually hilarious how this is actually incredibly. I didn't even mean this to be the case. This is a perfect mirror of each other. So yeah, just to kind of throw that out there. Slowbro is someone that I absolutely do like, actually. Actually, is it a Lowland Slowbro? Is it Slow King? It might be Slow King that I was thinking about. So Slowbro with Expanding Force, Psych Up, Flamethrower, and Psy Shock. You're going to be using Expanding Force and Psy Shock almost interchangeably. They're not really great. They're not really helping you out. There is no water ability. There's no water attacks coming out of it, but the coverage is Flamethrower, which is not that great. He's cool against Kartana, I guess, unless you get hit with a Leaf Blade. But besides that, he's not great. I got kind of excited there for no reason. You know, he's not that good. Slowbro has good stats, but his moves are lacking, and for that reason, I'm gonna put him down in the D tier. Could be worse. He has a lot of bulk. He'll survive. Definitely better than the ones below it, but not better than the things above it for sure. So Magneton is next. Electric Ball, Flash Cannon, Magnet Rise, and Light Screen. 2 decent stabs. Electric is good. Steel is okay, it's not great. Magnet Rise for using of a turn to get rid of your ground weakness, which, you know, is not going to be the case most of the time. So it's kind of a waste of a move. You know, vast majority of the time. You know, if you are going against something that is ground type, you're obviously not going to be picking this. Yeah. Attack power is increased by 30% if this is the last Pokemon to attack this turn, so he is pretty slow. He's not pretty slow. I'm talking about 70 base speed is, yeah, that's kind of a wash. So he screams to me like average-ish Pokemon, like you're fine getting him, but you could do better. Light Screen is okay for support. We'll put him in the C tier. There's definitely better. Haunter is a fun one. Haunter is one of the best high-risk, high-reward Pokemon there is. A speedy Hypnosis setter is very, very clutch. I will say that I have done very, very well picking this Pokemon and just running that. Hex and Dream Eater coming off of that is very good. Energy Ball, you kind of would wish for a better move. That's what's separating him from like the top tiers. But Fast Sleep is very, very valuable. It's very valuable. It makes me consider it being in an A tier. Like Haunter is that good. You know, Fast Sleep is that good. And if Hypnosis was Sleep Powder accuracy, we were talking about something that's kind of busted. If it misses though, it drops down to like here. But we got to go with it hitting. So it's either high B or like right in the A tier. And I think it's an A tier, honestly. Like it has recovery for itself with a good move in Dream Eater. Hex is very, very good coming off of its special attack stat. Very fast guy, setting up sleep very quickly. You just hope it doesn't miss. But if it doesn't miss, you have one of the best Pokemon that you would ever ask for. You know, definitely good. So give me one moment. So with that said, we have a lot more to go, guys. This is gonna be a long episode, but hey, we're rounding out. We're not really rounding out Generation 1. We're just part of the way through. Kingler. Let's pull up Kingler really fast. Kingler, Hypercutter. What is the Oh, Levitate. Yeah. So Kingler's Levitate is pretty cool. It stops the ground weakness, which is a weakness of it. So that's kind of cool. It has 2 immunities with that being the case. So Kingler massive attack stat, and that's about it. Massive attack, good defense, I should say too. But everything else is kind of like below average. I actually thought it was slower than 75 base speed, so that's actually kind of surprising. Lowers the speed stat of opponents that could have a little bit of utility. So just because he is so strong with Crab Hammer, you would think that by itself that is its defining feature. That's not it. So we've gone really in depth with the utility of coaching. A move that I love just as much to see in one of these Pokemon is Wide Guard. There's only a few that have Wide Guard, and if you have Wide Guard, you're instantly, a potential, high tier, if not higher. Wide Guard is so valuable against so many legendaries. I know one off the top of my head is like Landorus. Landorus is not the easiest one to take on. Ice type Pokemon, as we can see, are very strong. And of course, if you find an Ice type, you're going to do pretty well against Landorus. But they're not the most common Pokemon to find, and their attacks are very few and far between, which is what makes them so valuable. But another way to completely stop and wall out a Landorus, for instance, is to just drop Wide Guard after Wide Guard. And with that to the case by itself drops heavy damage, drops heavy damage. What am I talking about? It stops heavy damage from coming onto your team. It's so good. It's perhaps the best support move there is. It's up there with coaching for sure. Life Dew is pretty cool too. But Wide Guard is one of my favorite things to see in a Pokemon. So dropping speed harshly with, it's a G-Max move. Crab Hammer is a very strong move. Superpower is a good strong move as well. Dig is also pretty big. It's unfortunate that it's a 2-turn, but at least at that time when you're doing that, you're invulnerable. You're safe for the most part against your opponent. So with that said, Kingler definitely deserves to be up there. Is Kingler an S tier? Kingler might actually be an S tier, which is kind of crazy. He's at the very He's at the very least a really good A tier. At the very least, a good A tier. But at best, he's probably an S tier. I'm gonna keep him an S tier. So hype for Kingler being an S tier. Moving on. We have Executor. Now, Executor, pretty good. Stomping Tantrum actually by itself pushes it up a tier because, again, grass typing and, psychic typing, not the best attacks. Terrain Pulse is not going to be used too often. He's definitely a good Pokemon. He does a surprising amount of damage. And Harvest is actually really good. If you're able to get yourself a Citrus Berry and you get Harvest, you have some ability to replenish yourself over and over. I've actually gotten to that situation a few times with Executor, where he just wouldn't die because he kept getting his Citrus Berry back over and over with Harvest ability, which is pretty good. It's unfortunate that his moves don't have as much effectiveness. On the surface, they look pretty good. You would rather, another leaf attack besides Solar Beam because of the 2-turn setup. He's a very strong B tier contender, though. I'll throw him somewhere in the middle of B tier. He's a very strong B tier user, very close to being A. He's a move away from being A tier, but he's not quite there. But he's a very good B tier regardless. Probably put him at the top of B tier. Right here with Machoke. I think that's pretty fair. Marowak is next. Marowak with Boomerang, Throat Chop, Iron Head, and Screech. Battle Armor being its ability. Let me just pull them up really fast. Just think about what I want to say. So crits not landing is always nice. It's not the best in the world, but it's always nice to see. These guys have they have the exact same stats, so we can just talk about that from that angle. Boomerang is okay. It's good typing. Throat Chop, again, is good coming off of the dark side, and Iron Head is kind of eh. So, and Screech is good support. So I think Marowak is, a good, He's a good C tier mod. He's at the top of C tier. He probably falls somewhere between C and B. I almost want to bump Machoke and Executor up to A tier. I almost want to do it. Because I feel weird having something as good as Machoke and Executor down here at the same tiers, especially Machoke. If I move Machoke up, then maybe Polywrath deserves to be in an S tier. He might deserve to be there. We're going to do that. Yeah, Machoke deserves to be up there. Polywrath, you deserve to be up there as well. Yeah, no, you're above average. Not great, but you're above average. Your coverage does help out a lot. Singular typing is also not bad either. A Lowland Marowak. Let's look at a Lowland Marowak. Flare Blitz. So Rockhead is going to help with Flare Blitz. Shadow Bone, Will-O-Wisp, and Iron Head. Will-O-Wisp is always cool. I will say that Will-O-Wisp is always a welcomed attachment to a Pokemon. It's the same Pokemon over again. I don't know why I did that. So yeah. So looking at his moves. Yep. Yeah, Ghost is decent. Ghost is decent. Fire can be great in some cases, but it's still kind of remarkably average. Iron Head is kind of meh. So yeah, I think he's above average. He's above average. The ability to drop a Will-O-Wisp on someone is a very, very good support. We'll put him below Marowak, but they're both pretty close. Hitmonlee, that's what I'm excited about. Hitmonlee is another wide guard obtainer. He is limited by his moves. We have a Blaze Kick, which is kind of cool for fire coverage, and then close combat and regular fighting. He's not going to be as good as Machoke and Polywrath. I'm sorry. He's not going to be as good. He doesn't have near the coverage that those two have, but he's going to be a very strong B tier regardless. Without Wide Guard, he might actually be flirting in the D tier area, or low C tier at least. But with Wide Guard, that helps him. That pushes him by itself up to that tier. Hitmonchan. Power Punch is cool. Fire, Ice Punch, and Thunder Punch. Good utility all the way around. There's something for everybody with this Pokemon. If you're going in random question mark, you don't know what's going to happen. You can't really ask for more. This is looking like Nidoqueen 2.0, just not as strong with the stats. You know what? Actually, it might be. We're looking at another S tierish kind of a situation. Yeah, fighting type, solid. Okay, a little below average, sure. Fire Punch, average. Thunder Punch, very good. And Ice Punch, amongst the best. So you have something for everybody with Hitmonchan. Doesn't quite have the stat total of Nidoqueen, which kind of gave me some reservations, but it does have good coverage regardless, and a good attack stat to shoot those moves off. You slap on maybe a Citrus Berry on this thing, and you're looking at something that's going to do some damage for a bunch of turns to come. So pretty solid. You like it a lot. He's up there. He deserves it. Another S tier Pokemon. Let's go. Moving on, we have Lickitung with Round, Worthless, Blizzard, Cool, Thunder, and Muddy Water. So what is Lickitung's special attack stat again? These are very, very powerful attacks coming off of this guy, but what is the special attack? Excuse me. 60 base power. So why, Game Freak? Why are you giving Lickitung these amazing moves and then having only that? The other kind of crappy part is that none of these moves are 100% accurate, and it's wait, hang on. Iron Fist. What does Iron Fist do again? Remind me. Power Punch is increased by 20%. Yes, we're talking about a bona fide S tier Pokemon without a doubt with that being the case. Without a doubt. Hitmonchan, I'm sorry to go back on it, but Hitmonchan, hell yeah, that's an amazing, amazing Pokemon. It's one you'll be picking almost every single time. If you skip on that, I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, so Lickitung. You have defensive bulk, no speed, no support for your allies, and hosting a bunch of powerful yet inaccurate moves. I'm sure it would come in the clutch eventually, but you're an E-tier mon. Oh man, those moves on another Pokemon. Oh man, that'd be amazing. But on you, complete waste. Complete and utter waste. So yeah, that is where you go. You belong in that tier. Moving on to Weezing. Weezing. So I wonder if because I think Galarian Weezing is like, oh no, Galarian Weezing is where you should be. I'm gonna look really fast for Butterfree. Just really fast. Unfortunately, I think Butterfree is missing. I don't see it. So Butterfree is not here. Just making sure. Okay, back to the list. So basic Weezing. Clear Smog, Heat Wave, Sludge Bomb, and Dark Pulse. Neutralizing Gas is the ability, which is always cool. Unfortunately, the Galarian Weezing doesn't have Neutralizing Gas, but some abilities are cool. They prevent stat boosting and other things. Sludge Bomb, okay coming off of it. Dark Pulse is also okay coming off of it. We're talking about probably an above average Pokemon, probably a B tier Pokemon. A lot of the Pokemon that are going in the average tier below are going to be like your unevolves and everything. But yeah, Weezing, it's fine. It doesn't really have much in the way of special attack. It's fine. I think it's actually a decent just C tier mod. It's B tierish. It's B tierish, C tierish. It's high C. It's high C. We'll call it high C. Yeah. Galarian Weezing is gonna come out with Strange Steam, Clear Smog, Flamethrower, and Taunt. Nothing remarkable here. Misty Surge is okay. I'm gonna prevent sleep and everything, but it's not like you're adding to the power of anything. Let me see. It's all right. It's gonna go right next to the other Weezing. Literally just all right. Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn is a cool Pokemon if you find it with Eviolite. If you get Eviolite in this thing, that's kind of cool. So you got Drill Runs, so Rockhead again, so Drill Run, Smack Down, Smart Strike, and Scary Face. Pretty good. Rhydon is pretty solid by itself, especially for a non-fully evolved Pokemon. You get yourself Eviolite, you have yourself a threat here for sure. Rockhead, making sure you don't get any sort of recoil, Scary Face. Unfortunately, you're probably using a couple Scary Faces before your entire team is outspeeding the opponent, and then by then you're probably getting that stat resetting move coming out of that Pokemon. But with that said, it's dropping a lot of damage with the moves that it does have, so this definitely belongs high up. So let me just look at something really fast. Yep, you have a move that is also 100% accurate, some more coverage. Yeah, so Rhyhorn is gonna be up here going towards A tier. I mean, again, pick your battles. Like you know for a fact if it's like a grass type or a water type, you're gonna avoid using Rhydon. Like you just know that. You'll be trading him off early on, but when he's good, he's great. He's actually fantastic. Having that ground and rock coverage, very good in this situation. Very good against a lot of Pokemon. Next up is Chansey. Chansey with Round, Heal Post, Helping Hand, and Light Screen. The de facto and Healer as its its ability. A de facto support mod. Round is trash. Heal Post is okay. Helping Hand is cool. Light Screen is okay, and Healer is really good. Definitely a really great ability for sure. Helping with status effects if they ever come up with your teammates. But with that said, he's incredibly incredibly limited by that role. So it's not an E tier mon because it does have some ability, but it's not going to be C either. It's below average, so we'll put him in D tier. Tangela. Tangela comes out with Power Whip, Stun Spore, Grassy Glide, and Body Slam. Now, Leaf Guard is okay. Leaf Guard is better than average. Look at the stats really fast. I just want to see what its attack stat is. This is a Pokemon that you're gonna want it in Sun. Again, it'd be cool if it was in Sun. But Grass Guard by itself or Leaf Guard by itself is not It's not as good as I was kind of saying. Special attack. Okay, so that actually brings up a bit of a red flag because Power Whip is not going to do a lot of damage. You have Grassy Glide pretty much only as a decent attack. Sunspore is okay, but unfortunately, it's just not measuring up. Terrible special defenses, bad speed stat. It's a much worse looking Rhydon. Rhydon, like it has the right moves. It has a lot of effectiveness. Tango, on the other hand, is just it's very lowly. It's very lowly. It needs a bunch of setup from other Pokemon to be really good. And even when it's quote really good, it's still not that great. Like it's fully set up, it's probably a high B tier and an A tier, but it needs a bunch of help to get to that place, and it's just not there. And it's always going to have that bad special defense, amongst the worst special defense in all the Pokemon that we use. So with that said, he's going to fall all the way down there. Even with Eviolite, not that great. 60 and 60, no thank you. Ooh, we're missing another one. So we have, I believe this tier list is missing Kangaskhan. All right, Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan has Buddy Slam, Sucker Punch, Dig, and Outrage. It's unfortunate to see in an early bird. It's unfortunate that we're missing Kangaskhan because Kangaskhan with these moves is actually pretty high up. Dig is cool, but Sucker Punch is good. We're talking about a potential A tier mon actually. He's good. He has good stats, strong Pokemon. He's a borderline A and B tier. So let me just make a little note off to the side so I can write it in the comments of the YouTube section so that everybody knows what these two are. So Butterfree is about a C tier, and Kang is borderline A. It's borderline A. Like normal typing is a little bit limiting, I'm not going to lie, so that might bump it down to high B, so I'll put him in B. But a solid Pokemon all the way around. Outrage is okay too. One of the very few Dragon users. I will say, here comes another one, as funny as it is. Dragon moves from a non-Dragon type, because if you're a Dragon type, you're going to be weak against yourself. So meaning your opponent is going to have that too. But Dragon users, very good coming off of something that's not Dragon itself against said Pokemon. Pretty good, above average in that regard, as is the Sucker Punch and Dig. No stab with any of them makes it not as powerful, but still pretty good nonetheless. Definitely a high B, low A. All right, moving on next to Seadra. Seadra comes in with Scald, Dragon Pulse, Substitute, and Round. Round again sucks. Substitute you're almost never going to use. You have Scald and Dragon Pulse. Scald is great. You put Seadra in, you get an Eviolite, hopefully. Again, it kind of comes down to that. You have him in there. He's probably B, but unfortunately, with just the two moves being usable, he's probably just C. And that also kind of comes with the caveat of Kingdra being my favorite Pokemon, so it's kind of sad for me to say that. It might actually be as low as... let me look at its special attack. What is your special attack stat? Because it's probably not that great. If Kingdra is 95, what are you? You're 95 still. Terrible special defense still. Ugh. Yeah, no, that's not great. Yeah, unfortunately, my friend, you don't have the utility, so you're going to be falling further down. Yeah, Water is good. Dragon is good. It's a high D. It's a high D tier, but it's not great. It's very much pigeonholed. There's a lot of better options out there. Chances are going forward with your run. This is looking very uniform again. It's kind of funny how it's kind of coming out to be. That's not on purpose. But there's definitely more in the middle. Some that are really great. And others are just not as much. So it's really cool to see the Sand Slashes and Kinglers of the world be so high up. We have a long way to go though. But we're rolling. We're getting through this. We're almost through Generation 1. We have about one more row of Mons, and then we're into Generation 2, which is really cool. Seadra, you have Waterfall, Bounce, Poison Jab, and Drill Run. Those are good. All of these are going off of your really good attack stat of, I think, 115, if I'm not mistaken. See if I remember my Seadra. Yeah, Seadra. Oh, no, I was wrong. What was the thing? 115. 92 is not as good as I thought. Not nearly as good. Not going to lie to you. But still okay. Water Veil, not the worst, but you need Rain to be up for it to have like any real effect. Uh, yeah. Oh wait, no. I was thinking about Rain. I was thinking about something else. Yeah, it's so it can't be burnt, but that's not. You know, how often is that going to happen? Um, I mean, good attacks all around. So water's cool. Ground is obviously very good. Um, poison, decent. It's one of those Pokemon that you're going to be really happy to have. I just like the diversity. There's a lot of diversity with these attacks. So um, it's unfortunate its attack stat is not better, but there's a lot of utility in these moves. And Waterfall is decent. If its attack was a little bit higher, we're talking about a high potential A tier Pokemon. But it is held back a little bit by what it is. But even with that said, it's still a Pokemon you're going to very, very much welcome on your team more times than not. Starmie, an old favorite. Starmie. It's going to have Power Gem, Dazzling Gleam, Psycho Cut, and Icy Wind. Psycho Cut is a bit of a wash, unfortunately. You're kind of hoping for Psychic or a lot of other. It could be Side Beam for crying out loud, and that would be better. Power Gem is alright. Dazzling Gleam, Icy Wind for better for speed control. Analytic is eh. It's sounding average to me. Unfortunately, it's kind of held back by the fact that it has Psycho Cut, not Psychic. If it had Psychic, it's probably a B tier mon. But and it doesn't really have anything to go with its water typing. There is no water typing. Icy Wind is an okay move, but it's gonna fall to C tier because it just doesn't do anything great. Power Gem is cool. It's cool. Everything here is cool, but could do better. Mr. Mime, Helping Hand and Psychic with Light Screen and Reflect. This is what I was talking about, having Light Screen and Reflect at the same time. This is a good Pokemon for that reason. Helping Hand is always a welcome add a thing. Let me just see what a Filter does. I forget what Filter does. It's always a welcome bonus. Alright, so regular, so Filter is reduced by 25%. So that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. The mimes are really cool. Helping Hand makes up for the fact that he doesn't have a lot of type coverage. And the fact he can set up either screen is really cool too. So I'm actually going to put Mr. Mime in the A tier, and I wouldn't be surprised if I'm putting both of them in the A tier as well. Not the most, physically bulky ones, but he does have resistance. It's kind of like like Rhyperior's ability. That's really cool. That Filter, that is its ability. Mr. Mime of the Galarian form. I keep doing that. I don't need to do it. Its ability not as good. But if you have Dynamax, that's cool. You're going to put up both screens. You do have speed adjusting ability. Ice is a huge move. Psychic is just meh. So I think they're both about the same. I think they both can go in A. I've helped many a team beat Dynamax Pokemon in weird circumstances because of the screens and the support that they give. So having Ice is good. Having screens is really, really good. It might be the fact that Galarian is here and Mr. Mime is up here. Helping Hand, because you would hope you're in a case where one of your teammates has something that's great to use. It's not going to be you, but you make the one that is great truly great. So, with that said, we're going to carry on. Scyther. Scyther has Fury Cutter, Quick Attack, Assurance, and Wing Attack, which all kind of suck. Technician is cool. It helps out the effectiveness of a bunch of these. This kind of reminds me of a Scyther that I ran on the ladder when I was much younger. I use like the Technician and everything. It has some crippling weaknesses. Quick Attack, Assurance. It's good to have an attack, of decent power coming out first. There are a lot of really speedy legendaries that you're not going to outspeed ever unless you do that. Fury Cutter is a bit of a waste. Wing Attack is your main attack coming off of that. Flying, kind of meh. Bug is, it's good. Normal is definitely meh. And Assurance is good. We're talking about an average Pokemon here. He's pretty average. Could do worse, could do better, could do worse. Definitely do worse. Jinx is a Pokemon that I think I have encountered more than anybody else. It doesn't seem like it's a Dynamax Lair run with that, or with a Dynamax adventure without me bumping into a Jinx at some point in time. Lovely Kiss is great. Ice Beam is great. Draining Kiss is cool. We're good with all of these moves. Round does suck. Jinx is cool. Lovely Kiss very, very much pushes it up. In a world where, you know, in a world where Hypnosis Haunter is up here, if it's unfortunate Jinx isn't a little bit faster. Jinx isn't as fast as I remember her being. I think she has like a base 95 speed, which isn't as great as I remember it being. But if you're able to stave off an attack, like I guess you're trading off accuracy for speed here. You're going to be going second, but you're going to hit more often when you do send the attack out. So with that said, Jinx does deserve to be up here. Ice is that powerful. It's that important when it comes to these things. She does have recovery. Sleep is a huge deal. It's a huge deal. So put that out there. She's pretty good. All right. Conversely, almost, you have Electabuzz with Rising Voltage, Electro Web, Helping Hand, and Round. Definitely a bit underwhelming. I think that Electabuzz, if I'm not mistaken, is more of a physical attacker. I could be wrong with that. Let me scroll down really fast. Okay, a little more special attack. Bad bulk. Good special. Okay, so it's pretty average. Rising Voltage is cool. Electro Web is alright. Very, very, very limited by its attacking, by its typing, and its attacks. It only has Electric, which is above average, but there's no other coverage of any kind. Helping Hand is a bit of a saving grace. Helping Hand can always go and help the any of your teammates in need. So he deserves an average tier. He's okay. Magmar. As a person who's doing a whole bunch of Katana raids, I'll tell you right now, Magmar is an absolute beast when it comes to that. One Fire Blast will take out a Katana Okoet by itself. Round is bad. Burning Jealousy and Clear Smog is not, fantastic. It's great and competitive, but it's not like, it's not eminently great. It actually usually would be more of a deficit than a positive in most cases. So as funny as it is, like as much like power that I did put behind Magmar, it's falling into the same situation as this other. It doesn't have like again, it's fire or bust. And doing so, its power is gonna be better than the Electabuzz, but it has a higher chance of missing, so you can't really say that for sure, right? All right, and you have Tauros. Tauros is interesting with Facade, high horsepower, close combat, and assurance. And Anger Point. If Anger Point goes up, boy, watch out. Even if it's status, Facade is cool. This is really good coverage as well. Dark typing and ground typing is awesome. Fighting is okay too. This is a good Dynamax Pokemon, helping out with your team's special defense and attack power, lowering your opponent's speed. Anger Point, again, is definitely appreciated. He's going up here. Tauros is going up here with that high attack stat and speed. Definitely a worthwhile Pokemon to pick up. Ditto is cool. Ditto is going to go up here. Borderline S tier, actually. There's nothing like being able to take your the legendary and put it on your side. I'm kind of conflicted here. Do we put him in S tier? Because it's going to have Imposter. You don't even have to use the turn to use Transform. It's going to have Imposter off the bat. Ditto. It's close. It's close. We'll put it in high A tier. We'll relook at it again. But being able to just take on the legendary on your side with it's reduced being what it is always really, really cool. Now we have Vaporeon with Water Pulse, Charm, Weather Ball, and Haze. Very, very lackluster. Vaporeon's special attack is decent, so that Water Pulse is okay, but it's not a good move. The Confusion Chance is always nice, but yeah, 110 special attack, but what's it doing? What's it even doing for you? What is it even doing for you? It's not good. Charm, Weather Ball, Haze. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Is it E tier? Am I gonna put? I mean, it's like it's reminding me of Raichu a little bit. You know, it just doesn't have like utility. Its moves are not great. Um, Charm is okay in certain circumstances. Haze is eh. Weather Ball is eh. Everything about this Pokemon is really eh. And you know what starts with eh? E. E starts eh. So we're gonna keep it there. Jolteon, Thunderbolt, Swift, Shadow Ball, and Helping Hand. Solid, solid, definitely above average. Helping Hand is cool. He's probably up here in the middle somewhere. Um, Helping Hand is definitely cool. Thunderbolt is cool. Speed is great. Shadow Ball for a little bit of coverage is cool. So yeah, you have a little bit of coverage. Jolteon is not the most, you know, coverage-friendly Pokemon. It doesn't have a lot of moves. It does suffer from, having a kind of a crappy move pool, but it has some of the best moves that it could possibly learn. So that's good. Now we're going to get into a very, very unfortunate story. We have a Flareon with Burning Jealousy, Shadow Ball, Baby Doll Eyes, and Last Resort. Only because I was using against Cortana so much, I have like a bit of like a positive feel about it. But overall, Flareon is something you're going to skip on. Flareon is a regular attacker, not a special attacker. So things like Shadow Ball and Burning Jealousy, which, similar stats coming off of a Jolteon are going to do good. Not as well with Flareon. It's not the worst special attack, but it's not the 130, So it's like this whole 130 is put to a massive, massive waste, and you're never going to be able to do Last Resort. You're never going to get to that point where Last Resort is coming out, and even if you did, you're pigeonholed into that one move. Because of that, it's a little bit better than Vaporeon, but not by much. Like this is a low D tier Pokemon. It's not good. Porygon regular, Porygon neutral. Foul Play, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Hyper Beam. Oh yeah. And download, so you do have a chance of some addition coming to your stats. Get an Eviolite on this thing, that'd be kind of cool. It's not Porygon 2 by any means, but 85 base special attack will do. When you have this kind of coverage coming off of this move, I mean, it's unfortunate it doesn't have it has Hyper Beam. It does have Hyper Beam as a finishing move. Ice Bolt, Thunder, yeah. Yeah, Porygon. I mean, it is a baby mon, so its attacks, its stats are pretty low. I'm not gonna lie, the stats are pretty low, which is gonna keep it from the high tier, but it's definitely a high B tier contender. It is definitely up here. It is a Pokemon that you're gonna be picking up for your team almost every single time. A lot of great coverage, very good moves. You're gonna be missing absolutely nothing. So yeah, we're on the last Pokemon of Generation 1. Get hype, guys. So we have a Dragonair, Blizzard, Breaking Swipe, Scale Shot, and Thunder. Let's take a look at your stats really fast. Scrolling on down, we have 84, 65, 70, 70, 70, 61. Okay coverage. You kind of hope that you connect everything you're aiming. Blizzard is great. Thunder is good. Scale Shot is good. I mean, it does kind of have has its effect. So it's funny. Like, how did these Pokemon learn these moves? Like, where is it a TM that it learns it from? I gotta find where you get Scale Shot, because Control F scale up, Control F Scale Shot. Oh, it's a tutor move. Okay. Lowers defense. Yeah, it's a pro and con move. Like, it's fine. It screams like an average Pokemon to me. So it's gonna go in C tier. And with that said, this is what Generation 1 is looking like for the Dynamax Adventures. Jigglypuff is terrible. Moving on, guys. We're going to Knocked Owl. Echoed Voice reflects Sky Attack and Hypnosis. Hypnosis is really the only saving grace to it. Yeah. Again, it's a very, very lackluster. Sky Attack takes 2 moves for it to come out. Echo Voice is not great. Reflect is better than Light Screen in my personal opinion, but we're talking about a below average Pokemon here, so we're gonna put him down in D tier. And it's only because it has sleep support that it's not lower than that. Sleep by itself almost puts it in C, but Knockdown, it just dies so fast. Like, its stats are not good, right? 452 HP is good. Special defense is shockingly high. It would be lower. It would be it's a high D tier. I mean, it's cool that a D tier Pokemon can have Hypnosis. Like if you're, we'll put in low C. We'll put it in low C. Hypnosis is that powerful, but not a good one. Not one you're exceedingly stunned to have. You know, you're not super looking forward to having this. And if it misses, like you feel like you wasted your entire Pokemon. It's amazing how that speed stat, you know, knowing that Hypnosis will probably come off twice, or come off, you're going to have like speed going into it, brings it from an A all the way down to a C tier. And barely a C tier at that, right? But yeah. Oh, hello. Let's put you guys back around. Oh, am I missing some chat? Yeah, that's fine. I'll fix that later. Pardon me as I fumble around. All right, so Lantern, another one of my old favorites. He is the favorite that I forget is a favorite. Water Pulse, Hydro Pump, Thunderbolt, and Confuse Ray. It's okay. It's okay. I know Lantern very well. He's pretty bulky. He has a lot of he's not high defenses, but very, very high HP. That's his biggest thing. Doesn't have a lot of special attack, unfortunately, but Thunderbolt is good. Hydro Pump and Water Pulse is good. Confuse Ray is eh. So he's in the C tier for sure. Better than a few of these guys, but not as good as others. I'll put him next to Starmie. He just doesn't have a lot of power coming out of him. He will do damage and keep it going. The thing is about these Dynamax raids, you kind of want them to finish as soon as possible. So Pokemon that aren't doing a lot are doing a lot to assist in limiting the moves of your opponent tend to suffer a little bit. The Parafusion ability of Lantern, albeit once being really, really good in former generations, is not as good anymore. So with that said, we're going to keep it like that. Lantern belongs in C tier. Let's look at Togetic. Life Dew, Follow Me, Polywrath, and Mystical Fire. Serene Grace is kind of cool too. Follow Me is alright. Life Dew is okay. I'm off the bat. I'm looking at a below average Pokemon because Polywrath is a physical attack, whereas I'm pretty sure Togetic is trying to be a special attacker if it's trying to be anything. Togetic, if it can be anything, is not. I keep doing that. Togetic is not a strong Pokemon. It is prolifically weak. Even with Eviolite, it's not that good. Defense, it would have good defenses with Eviolite. I will say that. But the HP stat is atrocious. Special attack is okay. But physical attack is bad. So Polywrath is absolutely wasted on it. Follow Me, you're not going to use that too often. Life Dew is kind of eh. So we're looking at a much, much worse Clefairy. And if I remind myself, Clefairy is in B tier, which means you're probably a D tier mon. You're down here pretty far. You're pretty far down here. So yeah, that's where you belong. There are things that are done much better by Pokemon above you, and the things you do well, you don't even do that great. So you're going to belong down there. You're actually a borderline E tier, if I'm being honest. Life Dew is okay. You slap on Eviolite on this thing is going to survive, but it's pretty slow. Friend Guard is just that much overpowered over this. I mean, it's a low D tier mon. It's a low D tier mon, but it's not. It's close. All right. Psychic, Simple Beam, Air Slash, and Confuse Ray, 2 stab moves. Not the greatest typing. Let's look at your stats really fast. I think a special attack is okay. I think it's in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken, or 80s at least. Because in the 80s it's kind of meh, but it is a what is it? It is a Magic Bouncer, which is cool. There goes the off to the side damage, the passive damage. It was a 95 special attack, which is pretty good. Again, I always kind of laugh. How does it get Simple Beam? Because it doesn't learn Simple Beam just bear with me, because it learned Simple Beam through an egg move. So it was like it learned an egg move to Simple. Yeah. It's kind of funny. So it learned it somehow. Somehow this got bred with something, and here it is. I mean, it is, yes. Again, at Max Lair, hitting the billies and everything. You see these weird attacks, but it just the implications make me laugh. Don't mind me. I mean, good attacks. Just not as effective going into legendaries, unfortunately. Like, it's fine. This is a fine Pokemon. It will do fine. But it's not one that you're absolutely like, oh, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. So it's a good, it does what it does okay. It's trying its best. But unfortunately, its potential isn't that high. Bellossom. Grassy Terrain, Giga Drain, Helping Hand, and Dazzling Gleam. Um, Giga Drain is fine. Helping Hand is cool. This is screaming like an average Pokemon to me. Healer is cool. That definitely helps its case. Off the bat, I was kind of thinking that it might be a below average Mon. Dazzling Gleam is fine. Moonblast would probably be better in the situation. But it's sounding like it's looking like an average Pokemon to me. So he's going to go in the average tier. Azumarill. Azumarill without huge power, unfortunately. So that kind of holds it back quite a bit. If Azumarill had huge power, we're probably talking about a B or even A tier Pokemon, but it doesn't have that. It has Sap Sipper. So let me just take a look. So it only has a 50 base attack power, which just that. Sap Sipper, you need grass type. You need a grass type move to hit you. And when is that going to happen? There are very, very few grass type attacks coming off of the legendaries that we fight. So Azumarill is unfortunately looking kind of lackluster. These moves are good on other Pokemon, but not on Azumarill himself. He's probably falling all the way down to E tier. He is falling. If it was high, oh my god, isn't that amazing? Like, if it's huge power, we're talking about here, but it's all the way down here because of that. It is so limited by what it cannot do. So it's high in E tier, but it's still in E tier regardless. Sudowoodo is up next. Stopping Tantrum, Stone Edge, Iron Defense, and Body Press. That's kind of cool. Sturdy is cool too. How much attack power does Sudowoodo have? The moves are good. There's a lot of synergy too. Even with Iron Defense and the Body Press, that's cool. 100 base attack. And who knows, if you get hit by a really, really bad special attack, you do take it. You do eat it with Sturdy. Sudowoodo, kind of solid. Kind of, sort of, really surprisingly quite solid. He's up here. He's up in the B. He's a borderline A tier. He just... I have a hard time putting Sudowoodo in A tier because that HP stat is kind of eh. And of course the speed is not good at all. It'll never outspeed anything. But a good showing for Sudowoodo nonetheless. Politoed with the built-in drizzle for liquidation, round, earth power, and a helping hand. Politoed is definitely a Pokemon that you're looking forward to having. Politoed, let me just look at its special attack stat really fast. And its attack stat. What is it rocking here? I think he is pretty smoothed out. So yeah, he's pretty, 90, 75. Yeah. This is a good Mon. Now, don't get me wrong, it can absolutely wreak havoc on your team if your team had fire types, but at the same time, it could absolutely wreak havoc on a fire type legendary. It could really, really, really reduce it down to very, very little, very fast. He's up here. Politoed is definitely A tier. Excuse me. Perhaps knocking on the door of S tier. Helping Hand just helps it. Round is a huge, huge detriment. If he had one more really cool move, if he had an ice move, throw an ice move on Politoed. This is an S tier Pokemon, but unfortunately for him, he has Round. It's like the game wants us to use Round in conjunction with each other. Would that be cool? Sure, but I think it's 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 Pokemon so far that we've done that have Round. What are the chances that the entire team has Round? I mean, I would love to see. I'm sure there's gonna be a video of it at some point in time of entire teams just dropping Round. In which case, cool, you did it. But what he does pretty well. Drop Round, put a nice type move on here. You're talking about one of the best Pokemon here. And now, unfortunately, this is not water absorbed. That'd be really cool, but it is a unaware Focus Blast, Skull, Toxic, and Amnesia. This is a below average Pokemon. Scald is cool. It's going to be what you're using primarily. Putting a burn on your opponent is really cool. Focus Miss is cool, but it's Focus Miss. Amnesia you're not going to use too often, so this is a below average Pokemon. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any stab ground type moves. That would be really, really cool, but it is a below average Mon for that reason. You know what? Pushing on E tier, actually. It's pushing E. It's low D, but it's pushing on E. Scald is good, though. If it didn't have Scald... Scald has low power points, so I will say that. So he's not going to be something you're going to be, picking up off the draft and expecting to use for long term. He's here for... Yeah, because we are talking about Pokemon that you probably want to pick. These are Pokemon that if you see on the draft board, you're going to be picking. We're going to give some points to Pokemon that you pick up later on, but less points in doing so. Like all these Pokemon here, you are good with starting off and rocking the entire time, in one way or another. They can pretty much last throughout the entire run by doing what they do best. That's why moves like Coaching, for instance, are so good, because you're not going to use all the PP for Coaching, but you could still spam it over and over again. But yeah. Let me just look at something really fast. I'm just reevaluating something in my head. I'm looking at the Sand Slashes again, hoping I didn't overrate them. No, they're good. They are solid A tier Mons. Yep, I would still say for sure that these guys belong in A tier. They do kind of sort of cover pretty well. Yeah, I think they do. They're maybe not like the best A tier Mons, but they're better than some. Like maybe like right here, somewhere in here, but they're up there. They're definitely up there. The S tier, I'm pretty sure I'm staying with. Okay. Slowking. Slowking is interesting. All right. Slowking with Future Sight, Nasty Plot, Razor Shell, and Ice Punch. Ice Punch helps it a lot. And it will gain some usage because it has access to ice. But unfortunately for it, Future Sight sucks. I don't like Future Sight on my Slowking. I really, really, really don't. Yeah, regular Slowking is here. Okay, attack stat, good special attack. It's not making the most use of it. And Razor Shell kind of sucks too. Nasty Plot, kind of sort of wasted. It's average-ish. Not great. You'll take it. It's average-ish. But, it's a little disappointing, unfortunately. Dunsparce, Skitter Smack, Dual Beat Wing, Shadow Ball, and Ice Beam. Now, you look at these moves off the bat, and you say, yes, this is a good Pokemon. Good coverage, has Ice and Dark. But coming off of a 65 special attack stat. It's all coming off of the 65 special attack stat, and it's 45 base speed. Yeah, they're cool moves. They're cool moves, sure, but... what do I even do with you? A lot of coverage. '70 regular attack, nothing that's stabbed. Yeah. Serene Grace kind of is interesting because it gives it like a 20% chance to freeze, so it's not useless, but it's still below average. I'm sorry to say it's below average. It's cool. It has a lot of great things. You slap those moves on a bunch of other Pokemon, you're talking about an S tier, but it's Dunsparce. It's Dunsparce, unfortunately. Oh man, yeah, its moves are good. It's kind of a shame to put it that low, but it's there. And if it was, they gave it those moves for a reason. All right, but Quillfish, Sword Stance, Poison Jab, Liquidation, and Steel Roller. Intimidate is good. I will say right now, Intimidate is very good. Is it enough to bump it into B tier? Is it enough to bump into B tier? Water and Poison Average, 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 above average ability. No, that's fine. Above average ability, average-ish stats. It's average. It's average. It's good. It's a good average. It's higher up average, but it's still average. Sneasel, triple axle, lash out, throat chop, and snarl. Get in, get out. Keen eye is okay. You know, very, very weak Pokemon with a bunch of weaknesses. I mean, not gonna really. Keen eye doesn't really help too much. Its attack stat is decent. Good speed stat. It's just really, really frail. That's the issue here. It's very, very, very frail. It's not going to stay around for a long time. Triple Axle also has its accuracy issues. If all three hit, great. If not, Lash Out is good. It does what it does good. It's a B-Termon. It is a B-Termon. Not a great B-Termon, but it is a B-Termon. Piloswine. Eviolite doesn't help it too much either. Piloswine. Good attack stat, good defenses, bad speed, good bulk. Eviolite would help it out quite a bit. It's rocking thick fat, so resistances, which is good, or added resistance, I should say. Blizzard, Rock Tomb, Ice Shard, and Super Power. Again, it's more of an attacker than a special attacker, so that's going to kind of hold it back a little bit. That's unfortunate. There's a lot better moves that it could be rocking as opposed to that. Ice Shard and Rock Tomb are just, it sucks. Like, Piloswine is a bit of an unfortunate circumstance. It's a bit of it's a bit unfortunate that's what it came down to. It could be so much better. It could be, but its moves are just not good. I think it's, yes, does it have access to some of the best moves or some of the best typings? Yes. No stab on the ground typing, unfortunately. It has the two best typings, though, or with attacks at least. It's average. You know, it has really good. It has the best of the best of the bad, right? The best of the bad. It does both at the same time, so we put it right down the middle as an average. Has some utility, but not great. Artillery, Skitter Smack, Flash Cannon, Skull, and Acid Spray. It's fine. It's fine. Sniper is fine. Lower special attack with Skitter Smack. Flash Cannon, not going to use too often. Acid Spray is fine. Everything here is right in the middle of the road. Okay stats. It's fine. Mantine. Air Slash Dive, Wide Guard, and Water Pledge. A bit limited by its move pool. What is its attacks again? I kind of forget Mantine's attacks. It's special attack or physical. It has something for both. Hoping more for the special attack. Okay, decent special attack. Actually, you're not going to use Dive. Like, forget Dive for a second. So you have Air Slash and Water Pulse for damage, for okay damage. Flying, unfortunately, is not the best. Its speed stat is really great special defense. So yeah, Wide Guard is cool. I'm gonna put this because of that by itself. It goes in the B tier. It's okay. It is a C tier mon by itself with Wide Guard. So that bumps it up another tier into the B tier. And not a bad draft pick, period. Like you can start off with this thing and rock it the entire time. But yeah, Air Slash. I mean, you're okay speed. You're not going to outspeed many things. There are some legendaries that you might, and if you get like a Tailwind on your team or a Max Airstream, or you do Max Airstream yourself, all of a sudden you have something that could make your opponent flinch, and flinch is always good. So there is that. All right, next is Skarmory with Assurance. Steel, Wing, X-Scissor, and Fly. Weak Armor, unfortunately, is not great. It is always good to gain speed, but like your bulk takes a nosedive with Weak Armor. I don't really like Weak Armor on Skarmory. Some people might love it. I can see why you would. I personally don't. I like Skarmory's staying power. That's one thing I do like about it. but it loses that with weak armor. Assurance is fine. Steel Wing is okay. Steel is not the best typing, but it's okay. Fly, eh. X-Scissor is eh. So this is looking like an average Pokemon here. Nothing great, but Skarmory does belong into the C tier somewhere. Hitmontop. Hitmontop with Drill Run, Triple Axle, Brick Break, and Coaching. So it does have ground typing, Triple Axle, ice typing. So this is yeah, he's looking really cool. You know, coaching to boot. You have a very solid Mon here. Intimidate to boot. Like Hitmontop is doing a lot of things great here. Let me take a look at like what he does poorly. But Triple Axle is actually this is like almost a competitive, a competitive stat or set for him. Like you're not using anything on the attack side, thankfully. He's not going to go first. But coaching is great. The coverage is great with ground and ice. And you do have Stab with Brick Break, which could be better. Brick Break could be better. But it's good. This is a very, very solid Mon. He's like pushing. It's interesting how like the fighting types are like all like, clumped up here pushing for the top. But I think Hitmontop, the Hitmon's really coming in here. It's possibly one of those guys you use for the entire run. There's a lot to like about him. Coaching is a big deal. Hitmontop is a big deal. So that's a good Mon. He belongs in S tier. We're gonna keep him there. Miltank coming in with Mega Kick, Milk Drink, Thunder Wave, and Polywrath. Scrappy is its nature. Thunder Wave, it's okay. It can miss now, which is unfortunate. It's kind of funny that we have Thunder Wave now, which is 80%, and then you have like Nuzzle, which is 100 and does damage on top of it. The nerf to Thunder Wave is kind of unfortunate. Polywrath and Mega Kick are okay. What is its stats? What is the attack stat? Alrighty, so your attack stat is 80. At least you have special attacks. It's fine. It's fine. Recovery is always good, but you're just kind of stalling out time at that point. You're not really doing a lot. It's fine. It's fine. It's one you could definitely do worse, but it's legitimately just fine. So it's around somewhere in the middle here. All right, Grovyle. What are we rocking here? Grass Pledge, Screech, Brick Break, and Endure. That's below average. Overgrow. That's below average. What is even your special attack stat? I think you're more of an attacker, right? I keep doing that. You're more base attack than special attack, right? Oh, no. I'll take the back. Yeah, so Grassy Glide without any grass support is fine. Screech is eh. Endure is a waste. Brick Break is not great. This is below average. You're definitely going to go into the D tier. Possibly even lower than this. I think you're E tier, actually. Grovyle is not really impressing me whatsoever. Sceptile. Grassy Pledge, Breaking Sweep, Leaf Storm, and X-Scissor. Breaking Swipe is fine. X-Scissor is fine. It might be a B tier Mon. Maybe B tier. Not the greatest coverage. It's alright. It belongs in B. It could do enough damage to justify a B tier. Combustion, Fire Pledge, Focus Blast, Feather Dance, and Low Sweep, kind of lacking there. Nothing too impressive there. Blaze is not that great. Yeah. Low speed, low defense. Average-ish, maybe even D tier. It's better than Grovyle. I'll put him in D. Better than Grovyle, but not good at all. Blaziken, though, that's interesting with Speed Boost. That's interesting. Fire Pledge, Blaze Kick, Close Combat, and the ever-popular Coaching. Fire typing, average. Fighting, fine. Coaching is always cool. His bulk, unfortunately, is not that great. But if you're speeding up and you like last a couple turns, now you're going first pretty much regardless. You know, fine defense, fine. But coaching is great. Coaching is great, so you're definitely in the A tier. Like you're an A tier, borderline S tier. You're a S tier. Your coverage isn't the greatest. Do I put you in S or do I put you in A? I think I put you like high A. Like above Machoke. Like you're high A tier. Your coverage isn't that great though. Like if you have like a rock move or a ground move, like we're pushing you up like way higher. It's just that, you know, you just don't have a lot of great coverage. You don't. You only have fire and fighting, you know? You're limited by your movesets. Your moveset is limited, but you're still a good coacher. But you're not going to last very long in coaching. So, like, you do some things okay. There's a few routes that you can go with you, but there are other Pokemon that do what you do better. But you're still a good Mon, regardless. So, you belong in high A tier for that reason. Let me take a sip 1 second. Alrighty, moving on. And we are in Generation 3 now. Sick. We're rolling through. There's a whole bunch of Pokemon to go, but we are making very, very, very good headway so far. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for staying tuned and doing this with me. Let's see. Just a Blaziken and Marshtomp with Water Pledge, Waterfall, Dig, and Ice Punch. It's actually a pretty good spread of moves. You're a mid-evolve form, and you're probably not as good as War Turtle. Like, I like Ice Beam better than Ice Punch in this situation. Dig is fine. Waterfall is okay. So you're probably there with War Turtle. You know, you're probably somewhere in there with War Turtle. I'll put you right next to War Turtle. You do have the ground attacking. If it was like Earthquake, you'd definitely be above, but Dig is fine. Dig is okay. Swampert, unfortunately, it's not like Ice Punch still. Blizzard kind of takes it back a little bit. Water Pledge, Earth Power, these are all, unfortunately, for its special attacks. Amnesia. Again, good moves, just not coming out. So Marshtomp, what is your... Let's just compare stats between the two, right? What is your attack power versus Swampert's, so 85? And what's your special attack? 85, yep. So you're just a little bit better than your predecessor. So you're going to be... Accuracy is an issue with these moves too. Or some, well, Blizzard specifically. So you're high B tier. It's kind of weird. I feel weird like putting you in the same tier as your, you're right above them too, putting you above your pre-evolution. But I like the moves of your pre-evolution better. A lot less risk. More bulk, obviously, you're stronger, you're bigger, but, you know, Marshtomp puts better efficacy of its moves than you do. Damp is Linoon, Slash, Pin Missile, Baby Doll Eyes, and Shadow Claw. A Linoon. It's a Linoon. Yeah, this doesn't scream great at all. In fact, neither of them do, really. Snarl and Throat Chop? Oh, boy. These guys, ugh. The Linoons. These poor Linoons. No real coverage with Dark Linoon, with Galarian Linoon. Like, Galarian Linoon is so bad. It's so bad. Regular Linoon has some coverage, but Galarian Linoon, oh boy. It's bad. It's bad. Yeah, you're speedy and you like, you know, Dark can be good. But if you're drafting, like you're typically not going to draft for one typing. You have no coverage on yourself whatsoever. 80 base power, prevents sound moves, like... Oh boy, are we putting Dark Linoon into F tier? Is that what's about to happen? Oh man, that is like I'm considering doing it. It's really bad. Like regular Lanoon is a tier above you, and I feel weird about putting regular Lanoon into D tier, and then bad Lanoon into E tier. Like I feel like this is the spread. Oh boy, that is so bad. Like yes, dark typing is good. Dark typing is up there amongst the best typings, but that's all you do. It's all you do. You are blocked out by so much. Um, yeah, there is just so much that you fail to. And again, we're putting more emphasis on Pokemon that you draft as opposed to pick up along the way. If you draft Lanoon, you're in for a bad time. Special attack is atrocious, so forget Snarl for a second. Even your base attack is not good. So, yeah, I feel okay keeping him in F tier. Oh boy, poor Lanoon. All right, Pelipper with Drizzle again. Weather Ball is cool. Wide Guard is cool. Dual Beat Wings is cool. All right, so Pelipper is gonna go into Pelipper, Weather Ball with Dual Beat Wings and Quick Attack. Quick Attack kind of sucks coming off the Pelipper. It's below average with Wide Guard. It's below average Pokemon that has Wide Guard, so Wide Guard puts it into average tier. It's kind of like the Noctowl story. It's a very, very similar story where like that one move puts it up. It'd be low D tier without it, but because it has that, it's gonna go there. Ninjask with Speed Boost, Fury Cutter, Substitute Mud Slap, and Skitter Smack. This is bad. This is bad. This is a bad Pokemon. This is a bad Pokemon. It's already fast. Skitter Smack. Skitter Smack is your main attack. 70 base power into a 90 pet. Oh my god, this is so bad. Slap Med Slap sucks too. Lowered accuracy, cool, but you're not really doing much damage. Ninjask. Oh, and I don't make any apologies for it. What's your base stat total? 456. Defense is terrible. Yeah, you're gonna outspeed. You're gonna lower your opponent's special defense and do a little bit of damage. That's all you're gonna do, or just lower the accuracy a little bit. You are dead weight. Not a lot of dead weight, but you are dead weight. You were welcome to the F tier. Welcome to the F tier. I gotta like reevaluate some of these other E tier Pokemon and see if they fall, like Tangela, who knows, maybe. But yeah, no, you're just bad. You do not want to draft him. You don't want to use him. Forget that. Explode. Let's see what you got. Terrain Pulse, Hyper Beam, Focus Blast, and Blizzard. Are you even a special attacker? You're more of a primary attacker, right? If I'm not mistaken. You're a physical attacker? Special attack is pretty good. Bad defense is okay HP. Scrappy is fine. Hyper Beam is fine. Finger is fine. It's fine. It's fine. Larion. Lairon is what I used to call him Larion as a kid. It's Lairon. Lairon with Steamroller, Iron Tail, Rock Slide, and Metal Sound. Sturdy helps. If you're able to get Eviolite on this thing too, kind of cool. It does have some crippling weaknesses on the special defense side though. So it is easily killed, unfortunately. It is easily knocked out, but that sturdy does help. Iron Tail misses a lot. Rock Slide is kind of its like saving grace, if you will. Even that is not fully accurate, but it is still an average mon. It's still average. I have a hard time putting it below that. Manectric, Rising Voltage Switch, Overheat, and Psychic Fangs. Lightning Rod is your ability. Okay. Okay, it's fast. It's not particularly strong. Okay, type spread. It's an average mon. Pretty average. Rosalia, Leaf Storm, Extrasensory, Weather Ball, Life Dew with Poison Point. Life Dew is okay. You're kind of slow. Weather Ball, you're not going to use too often. Extrasensory kind of sucks. You're below average. Leaf Storm, you use it once, and all of a sudden your special attack kind of goes away. That's actually pretty bad. We're going to put you in E tier. You're an E tier, Mon. You have some coverage, but not great coverage. Not really, high necessary typings. Like Psychic is amongst the weakest. Weather Ball, you're not going to use too often, so it's kind of just there. Leaf Storm lowers your special attack drastically. You have one big hit in you, and that's it. You're, again, 2 of the lowest efficacy moves. No poison support. Life Dew is okay, but yeah, what are you doing with this guy? Sharpedo, Aqua Jet, Assurance, Swagger, and Scale Shot. It's unfortunate that he has Aqua Jet. You would rather something like Waterfall in that slot. It's looking like a below average Pokemon. Swagger doesn't really... You're not going to use Swagger too much. Put him in D tier. Still fast. Speed Boost doesn't make it faster. Scale Shot even faster. It's kind of a waste. Very, very, very frail to do a little bit of damage. So he's low D tier. He is definitely low D tier for sure. Whalmer, Brine, Steamroller, Bounce, and Endure. That is trash. Why would you even use that? It's a bad Pokemon. It is a bad Pokemon. You are... Are you F tier? Are you F tier? Can't even use that. Your stats are going to be atrocious. The only thing that's good is going to be HP. Everything else is going to suck. 70s? Yeah, 60. Yeah, you're not looking that good, dude. You're not looking good. Brine and Bounce. Picking and sticking it. Drought Torkoal. That's kind of cool. Rapid Spin and Smokescreen, not so much. You're setting fire and you're hoping for a burn. Yeah. So you're kind of pigeonholed. But droughting to boost your attack is kind of cool. So you're going to be slow, but you're going to drop some decent damage. You're like low C. You're low C because, again, you're very pigeonholed, but what you pigeonhole in, you're actually okay at. I'm considering D tier for you, but I'm having a hard time putting in with these other guys that are down here in D tier. You're kind of like, you do one thing really, really well. You drop heavy fire damage, but everything else, Flygon, Steel Wing, Dragon Claw, Bug Buzz, and Mud Slap. Levitate is cool too. Steel Wing, Dragon Claw, okay. Bug Buzz, fine. Mud Slap, Flygon is above average. Low above average, but above average. For the fan favorite out there, right? Everybody loves Flygon. Who doesn't like themselves a good Flygon? Altaria does not have Dragon Dance. I feel like every Altaria needs Dragon Dance. Cloud9 is okay. It might actually piss off your team if you have it, because it just kind of wreaks havoc on all the weather strats that kind of come out there. But Dazzling Gleam is okay. Heat Wave is fine. Cotton Guard and Dragon Pulse. It's okay. It's fine. Again, it actually works as a detriment to a lot of your teammates' strategies, because weather boosting is actually a very common strat that you see, especially with like newer players. So it's like average-ish. Like if Altaria is here, then if Torkoal is here, then Altaria deserves to be here too. But it's just average. Nothing you're gonna super duper write home about. Stats are okay. It's fine. Wishcast with Bounce, Belch, Muddy Water, and Zed Headbutt. Hydration is that's below average. That's not good. Max, is it D or is it E? It sounded like E to me off the bat. That's what the feeling is. Bounce, you're not going to use too often. Belch kind of sucks. Muddy Water is good. It is good. It's the only really good attack that it has, and Headbutt is kind of meh. Again, you're not going to really use Max Airstream with him too often. Even if you did, flying is not the best of attacks, so he's kind of below average there. He's not E, he's D because he's like fully evolved, but like even Vaporeon is down here. Like it's barely better than that. We'll put him in D, but not a strong D at all. Crawdont, Lash Out, Facade, Muddy Water, and Swords Dance. Muddy Water is completely wasted because Crawdont is an attacker. Lash Out and Facade are your main attacks with Swords Dance. It's fine. It's fine. It does have Lash Out at least. Dark is a good typing. Higher C tier. Muddy Water, unfortunately, is a bit of a waste, and Facade, that's not going to really cover much. Like, you're not really going to do many things. So it's that's like what, you're going to not attack a Dark type, and you're going to use Facade instead, like, sure. Or a Fairy type, maybe, sure. So Trick Room, Psychic, Ancient Power, and Hyper Beam. That's kind of interesting. Psychic, not great. Ancient Power is fine. Hyper Beam is fine. Trick Room is interesting. On a well-coordinated team, on a very, very well-coordinated team, this could actually be really good. Most of the time, you're not dealing with that, though. Draft board, it's like, what it does well, it does really well. Like sending Trick Room and having like Slowmon suddenly outspeed the Legendary or anything you fight is great. Omni boosting with Ancient Power, great. Hyper Beam, not so great. Psychic, not so great. So we're going to pretend like it's being used at its fullest potential. Let's put it at low B. Higher C, low B. You know, it could do something really, really good. It can. If your team is really, really slow, this could be really, really, really clutch. But it comes with that being the caveat. But most of the time, you're going to be, slower than the Legendary. That's just kind of the case. So it can be good. Trick Room by itself puts it in B tier. It makes it, it goes from being an average, bulky-ish kind of Pokemon that just kind of takes hits all the time to just being slightly better than that. So that is what we're going to call it, and that's what it's going to be. Next on the list, we have Cradilly with Energy Ball, Ancient Power, Gastro Acid, and Sludge Bomb. Fine. Excuse me. Good attack power. Okay coverage. Ancient Power is fine. Sludge Bomb is fine. Energy Ball is fine. It's a decent Pokemon. It's decent. It belongs in low B. It belongs in low B. It can do some things. It's not great. It's not particularly great, but it's better than average. Armaldo with Battle Armor. Let me look into him a little bit. He has good attack, I'll tell you that. I just forget what its attack stat is. Is it like 125 or something like that? 125, nailed it, yep. So bad speed stat, everything else is kind of cool. Decent defense, really good regular defense, okay special defense. Smackdown, Stomping Tantrum, Sandstorm. This is a Pokemon you're probably picking up. Smackdown and Stomping Tantrum combined is pretty good. Sandstorm is a bit of a waste. It's not terrible, but it's a bit of a waste. Accessory is also fine. Definitely an above average Pokemon. Definitely high B tier. I could see the case for it being pushing A tier actually, because it is strong. It does what it does really well. I just don't think it's quite up to snuff with like what's in the A tier right now, because it just does like the one thing. But it does it pretty well. Just straight up attacking. Smackdown, like, how much recoil? It's recoil, right? Wait, this is a 50 base power attack. So yeah, like, if it was stronger. If this was a stronger rock type move, right? It doesn't do that. I'm thinking about something else. I'm thinking like whatever. Yeah, it's not a very, very powerful move. X-Scissor, Smackdown, those are okay stab coming off of a really strong attack. It's not like, doing how Kingler does it. Kingler does it really, really well. Armaldo does it all right. That's kind of the difference right there between your just a little bit of attack power can just do that. Right place, right time can just make or break a Pokemon, and unfortunately Armaldo just doesn't have the right rock attack to make it higher. It's close. It's getting into that A tier. You're taking him very, very happily on your team. I'd be very happy to see one of my my teammates pick him up, but kind of outdone by other Pokemon ahead of it. Dusclops, Shadow Sneak, Hex, Gravity, and Skitter Smack. You're not doing any damage with this, and Gravity doesn't help. So Dusclops is in a weird position where like you'd want him to be a support mon, but he is set up as an attacker. You put Eviolite on this thing is not going to faint anytime soon. It's going to take a lot of hits. Unlike Gengar, it doesn't have a way to set up its Hex, and Skitter Smack is just not going to do a lot of damage coming off of it. Dusclops is great of a Pokemon as it is. It's going to go down into the D, maybe even E tier, actually. It's going to stay around. It's going to stay alive. It's going to stay around, but that's even with Eviolite. Eviolite just becomes a hit sponge. No redirection going towards it. It's just not a good mon, unfortunately. Absol with Night Slash, Fire Blast, Blizzard. Those moves are good, but it does not have the special attack to back it up, unfortunately. Absol is going to be looking like an average Pokemon. Just Stab Night Slash by itself is going to do a lot of damage. It's a strong Pokemon, but it's really kind of pigeonholed into that one move, and it can only do that. Much better than maybe like a Ninjask, right? Or a Lanoon. That's the difference. This attack power is great. This attack power is crap, right? This has critical hit ability, so you could do a lot of damage with that, and by itself, that one pitch puts it in that position, but it's not any higher than that for sure. Galele, Crunch, Ice Fang, Fake Tears. What is its attack? I think it's like 80s or 85s-ish, kind of that way all the way around for the most part. It's pretty set standard in that kind of a way. Yeah, 80 across the board, which is eh. Crunch and Ice Fang are fine. You would hope for a stronger ice move. But these are two very, very effective moves. These are really good to have. But that's all it has is this is two pitches. Fake Tears are kind of eh. Those are right. Those are good. It's worth being it's somewhere in the middle here. Any more coverage, it's easily a B tier plus, but it just has those two, so that's all it has. Celio. Let's see. Yeah, Celio. Ice Beam, Brine, Swagger, Dive, Thick Fat. Another situation where it's resisting some of the things it's weak to. It's going to have some heavy defense. What kind of special attack are we... It's going to have a lot of HP. What kind of a special attack are we running here? It's probably not high. It's probably like 70, 75, yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Ice is always good. Ice is the only reason why it's staying in C tier. If it had anything else, it's going much, much, much lower, but ice typing is important for these runs, so we're going to put them there. Yep, that's what we're going to do. Relicanth. Liquidation Head Smash with Rock Head, Flail, and Scale Shot. Pretty good. Pretty good. Decent coverage. Does have Scale Shot is Dragon, right? I'm just drawing a massive blank here. Sorry about that. I know it's the most amateurish kind of question. I just kind of forgot for half a second. Yeah, it is Dragon. So, yeah, and what kind of attack does Relicanth have? This is looking like a solid Pokemon. Relicanth, 90 base attack, good defense, kind of paltry special defense. Relicanth is a good pick. It does a lot of things really well. It has the rocking, has the rock typing. Water is good. Scale Shot is fine coming off of this thing. Flail you're probably going to not really use. It's going to be very hard for you to predict when to accurately use it because it's just so slow. But that kind of coverage with those kind of stabs is actually pretty good. It's a worthwhile pick. It's going to go in the B tier, somewhere in the middle here. And justifiably so. Metang. Let's see what Metang is looking like. Metang, Meteor Mash, Thunder Punch, Psycho Cut, and Reflect with Clear Body. Meteor Mash, highly inaccurate. Steel is not the most valuable typing. It's a good attack, but it's not the most valuable typing. Thunder Punch is pretty good. Psycho Cut is not. So Reflect is decent. We're talking about an average-ish Pokemon, maybe a little bit on the lower end of average. Next up is Luxray with Facade, Light Screen, Rising Voltage, and Electric Terrain. Unfortunately, Luxray is not the quintessential electric type. Definitely rocking way more of an attack than a special attack. Special attack is still okay, but it's not going to use Rising Voltage to its full effect, and Facade it's its main attack, so that's kind of crappy. Guts plus Facade, you put those two things together, that would be kind of cool. But again, you are reliant on you getting hit by status first. For that reason, he's going to be knocked down below average. He's in D tier. D tier pushing E tier, actually. Your strat is revolving around you getting status? No. No, thank you. Vespiquen with Attack Order, Swagger, Dual Beat, and Revenge. The person who made Dynamax Adventures really is a fan of dual beat wings. I swear I keep seeing that over and over again. Maybe it's just me, but a bit tanky. You know, very weak to rock, obviously. Attack order is fine. Dual beat is okay. Revenge is okay. It's probably gonna hit. It's not wowing me. It's kind of average-ish. Maybe even below average. It's probably like the top of like below average. Kind of bulky. It's kind of bulky. Not super bulky. Speed is slow. Doesn't do anything too great. Its attacks don't really wow you, you know? It's okay. If you're going up against a psychic type, sure. But, you know, which there are a bunch of. You know, Bug is okay, but Bug is your best attack is average at best, right? So with that said, it's below average. Cheerum, Solar Beam, Worry Seed, Sunny Day, and Weather Ball. It goes from like an okay Pokemon to an interesting Pokemon with its Sunny Day. It goes from really bad to like interesting, like kind of funny when that happens. Kind of missed stats. Special attack is its best stat, but even that's not that high. Sun form doesn't change anything. It just looks cooler. It just looks happy. You do need to set up Sun, which it does come with. But what is its ability? Oh, yeah, it's Flower Body. It just changes forms, like Flower Gift. Like well, I mean, yeah, allies attack and special defense. Attack and special defense. Allies attack and special defense. That's interesting. What a weird combination. 1.5 in Sun and strong Sun. It needs to set up Sun. It has to, right? And then it can spam, you know, Weather Ball and Solar Beam, which aren't great attacks. It's interesting. It's one of the most interesting average Pokemon there is. It's not straightforward good, but in the right place, it could be great. It could be really crappy, or it could be really great. You know, it's a weird one. It's an interesting one. So out of like all the you know, base Pokemon, that one's pretty cool. Unfortunately, I was not plugged in that whole time, so hopefully I'm not dropping a ton of frames. I'm not really computing at full power. Okay, we're not really dropping a lot of frames, so that's kind of cool. Had a little bit of fear there, but I think I'm actually okay. Gastrodon. Gastrodon. Body Slam, Skittersack, Rock Tomb, and Waterfall. Slowboy, Waterfall is going to be okay coming off of him. Body Slam is okay. This guy is not being used to its full potential at all. I'm seeing a lot of here. He's probably below average, honestly. Gastrodon is I love Gastrodon. You know me, I love myself a Gastrodon. I rock him on a couple of my teams that I've used in doubles, but yeah, sorry, dude. You're definitely being underutilized here. You could be so much better, but you're in the below average tier for now. Drifloom has access to Tailwind, which is always really cool. Thunderbolt, Psychic, and Will-O-Wisp. Definitely a good support mon. Setting up Tailwind and then Will-O-Wisping could always be good. Psychic and Thunderbolt are okay. Not much in the way of attack power. Aftermath does extra damage if you get knocked out, which is cool too. You know, its attacks put it in like E tier, but its support ability is actually pretty good. So support puts it into C tier, higher C tier, I'll say, and then pushing for more. Okay, so Lopunny, Drain Punch, Mega Kick, Bounce, and Charm. Drain Punch is always cool. You know, cute Charm. Okay, not bad. But you're still a below average Pokemon. You know, you're low D going towards E. You know, normal typing isn't great. Mega Kick is not accurate. Drain Punch is cool. Not a lot of power points to it. Not a lot of power to it. The right place, it's cool. You let this thing Dynamax and you let it max Airstream. Yeah, that's cool. But it's not wowing me. It's just not. Skunk Tank with Lash Out, Burning Jealousy, Sucker Punch, and Acid Spray. Pretty good. Aftermath is its ability. It's pretty good. Dark type is good. Lash Out and Sucker Punch cancel each other out. Fire is okay. Fire is not bad. I'm seeing a remarkably average Pokemon here. Right in the middle. No frills, nothing too exciting about it, but yeah. Bronzong with Zen Headbutt, Metal Sound, Steel Roller, and Skill Swap. That's shitty. That is shitty. He'll take a lot of hits. Metal Sound is okay sometimes, but he's below average. I'll put him right next to Dusclops. He's just not fun. He doesn't really help. He just survives. He just takes hits, and it's not his fault that the team loses, but he didn't really help. Munchlax with Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Body Slam, and Gunk Shot. Baby Boy, not very strong. What is your attack power? You get an Eviolite on this thing, it's going to live for a long time. Attack power is okay. If it had Ice Punch, now we might be talking. Body Slam is okay, but even if it paralyzes, it's still going to be outsped. Most certainly a below average Pokemon. Having trouble thinking if it's D or E tier. It's in the D probably, but it's still on the low side of D. Let's see. Drapion with Lash Out, X-Scissor, Acupressure, and Iron Tail. Battle Armor is the ability. It's fine. Lash Out is your main attack with only 5 power points, so it's not the best draftable Pokemon that we have. But it's fine. It belongs in C tier. It's fine. It's just I'm not sure if it's going to make it all the way to the end. It's going to be kind of hard to keep all those power points for the final battle, but yeah. Obama, soundproof, unfortunately. Avalanche, Aurora Veil, Round, and Grassy Glide. Below average Pokemon, if you switch a couple things around, this thing suddenly becomes really good. If it has Snow Warning up, being able to put Aurora Veil would be overpowered. You'd be talking about a potential A tier mon. But unfortunately, it doesn't have that, and Round sucks, as we all know. Grassy Glide and Avalanche are just okay. It's going to be below average, but higher below average. Actually, is it average because Ice Typing is just that good? Ice Typing is that good to put in there, but it's not great by any means. Frostlass with Triple Axle, Frost Breath, Aurora Veil, and Shadow Ball. Again, you wish that Snow Warning was up at some point in time. Does decent damage. It's another average Pokemon. Good speed. What else is there to really say about it? Very good speed. Okay attacks. Like, it's going to drop the Ice Bombs pretty well. It's not going to take many hits. It does ice well, but that's really it. Shadow Ball is cool too. Like, I mean, yeah. I mean, again, Ghost and Ice are actually kind of, I mean, as I say that, like, can 2 attacks really, you're going to go in low B tier. You're in low B tier. Ice and Ghost are that strong that it could push a Pokemon to that limit. Of course, you're not going to use it if you know that eventually in the route it's just completely useless. But when it's being utilized in the right spot, it's actually very good. Good. Okay power, good speed. You're probably getting off a few attacks with those attacks. Yeah. Rotom with Electric Ball, Will-O-Wisp, Nasty Plot, and Hex. Fine. You can set up with Nasty Plot. That would actually be kind of cool. Will-O-Wisp is also a good support move. Electric and Ghost typing are both above average. So this thing is above. It's going to be in the same place as Frostlass. Maybe a little bit below Frostlass, but still kind of up there too. The Will-O-Wisp and Hex combination is pretty cool. It's a good universal attack. Stoutland with Giga Impact, Facade, Round, and Baby Doll Eyes. He is remarkably below average. Not super effective on anything. Solid guy without any kind of coverage whatsoever to speak of. Very, very lackluster. Baby Doll Eyes is fine in certain cases, but everything else is kind of lackluster. So he's like high below average. It's going to take a bunch of hits. It's going to take a bunch of hits and everything, but he's no frills. He's not fun. He's not really all that fun to use. But yeah. Moving on. So let me X these out. Moving on, we have Liepard. Liepard Assurance, Polywrath, Torment, and Screech. Fast, frail Pokemon with good attack. Could be better. Torment is okay. Not really. Sometimes you actually prefer, especially the legendary, to use the the stat boosting move as opposed to the straight up attack. You always kind of breathe a sigh of relief when that happens. Well, not always, but sometimes you do. Screech for defense lowering is fine. This is an average Pokemon. Good typing with the attacks, good speed, below average-ish, yeah. Sharna coming out with Expanding Force, Side Shock, Yawn, and Energy Ball. Yawn is good. Yawn is always good. It's going to take a couple turns to set up, but it's always good. Expanding Force is fine. Energy Ball is fine. So just because it has Yawn, it belongs in C tier. If it didn't, it would be a low D tier mon, maybe even an E tier Pokemon, depending on what the last move was. Pheasant. Dual Beat Wing, Taunt, Feather Dance, and Tailwind. Oh boy, that's bad. That's really bad. Tailwind is cool, but that's it. Tailwind is the reason why it's E tier and not F tier. Talk about being pigeonholed into a bad attack. Yeah, there's not much to say about it. It just kind of sucks. Boldore, Stone Edge, Iron Defense, Body Press, and Stomping Tantrum. Low speed. You're never gonna outspeed anything. But good synergy with the attacks. If this was Jigglypuff, it'd be much higher. But good synergy with the attacks. I have to say, it's like a borderline B tier mon. But I'm gonna put it in high C for right now. I'm gonna keep it in high C. Borderline B. Borderline B. I'll give him B. Just rock typing, so there is no quad weakness. Again, Iron Defense and Body Press have good synergy. Good attacks. He's worth the pickup. Swoobat, Simple Beam, Speed Swap, Psychic, and Air Slash. Yeah, it has Stab. Yeah, it's decently speedy, but these are below average attacks coming out of a below average Pokemon. He's in D tier. Nothing special here. Yep. Dino, Healer is cool. I will say Healer is pretty good. Drain Kiss, Hyper Voice, and Flamethrower. Not much in the way of attacking. Does give decent support, just life doing away over and over again. Drain Kissing to replenish one's own health. Hyper Voice is fine. Flamethrower is eh. Healer is good. Dino would typically be a below average Pokemon, but with its support ability, it's somewhere in average. It's somewhere in C. You don't mind seeing your opponent pick that up. Girder with Guts, Focus Punch, Coaching, Brick Break, and High Horsepower. Now you're talking. Coaching is always great. Focus Punch you're probably not going to use, but you could. Brick Break and High Horsepower for good coverage. We're talking about Guts, slower speed. Coaching is good. Is it as good as Machoke? Let me look at Machoke for a second. Let me remind myself of Machoke. Dynamic Punch, Rock Tomb, Payback, and Coaching. With no guard. Rock Tomb, and you have High Horsepower instead. Yeah, it's basically as good as Machoke, which means it's an A tier mon. Coaching is just that good. It's about as good. Yep. He belongs up here with the A tiers. Yep. Yep, Girder goes up there. Palpitoad. What is your special attack? .65 base special attack. Very lackluster stats all the way around. You are looking kind of crappy. Swift Swim is cool, but sure. Good typing on your attacks, but you're definitely below average. You're definitely you're not E tier because the types of your attacks are pretty good, but you're definitely down here. In fact, actually your stats are so bad. Yeah, I'm having a hard time putting you above a Zoomerl and others here. So yeah, you're gonna be down here in E tier. Your stats are just that bad. Seismitoad coming out with Sludge Bomb and Screech. This is ugly too. Seismitoad is not that good either. It doesn't have any stab. It has no stab. Wow, you're right next to it. You're previous evolution. Your de-evolution. Yeah, you suck too. It's a whole bag of suck in the Seismitoad family. Scolipede, Steamroller, Toxic, Throat Chop, and Megahorn. Relying on Megahorn's accuracy is a bit scary. Steamroller you're not going to use too often, and when you use it, cool, but if you're not using it, when you can, it's absolutely useless. Toxic is fine. Low average, you're lucky I'm putting you there. Let's see here. Whimsicott with Hurricane, Taunt, Energy Ball, and Play Rough. No Tailwind, which is unfortunate. Hurricane misses a lot. Energy Ball, Play Rough. You're not physically an attacker, so Play Rough is a bit of a waste, right? Just to make sure that's the case. Yeah, your attack power is only 67. It's not good. This is not a good Pokemon. This is looking like an E tier Pokemon as we go along. This is an E tier Pokemon. Great, sometimes terrible in this format. Lilligant. Lilligant is Lilligant. So Quiver Dance, Light Screen, Pollen Puff, and Petal Dance. Petal Dance is going to lock you into that move. Quiver Dance is cool. Light Screen is cool. Pollen Puff is okay. Good support mon. Good support mon. Can boost up. High average. High average. Low B. Low B. Low B. The Basculins. The red Basculin is Liquidation, Dive, Psychic Feigns, and Ice Fang. That's big. I have actually used I've used red Basculin a bunch to very, very good effect. That Ice Fang really pushes it up. It's a very, very solid contender in the B tier. It's high B tier actually. Conversely, the blue one is not so much. It's going to be more like the C tier average. It doesn't have the ice coverage that you're kind of really wanting. Crunch is good, but it is a downgrade. I will say that it's definitely a downgrade. Crocodile with Earth Power. Unfortunately, it's Earth Power. It's not, high horsepower Earthquake. That's a huge hit to it. So Darkest Lariat is really it. That's going to put it, unfortunately, in D tier. Crocodile is a great Pokemon. I love him as a Pokemon, but like Earth Power is the wrong move for it. That is so unfortunate that's what he got. It doesn't take advantage of Anger Point at all if it gets hit in that direction. Maractus with Storm Drain, which is cool. Leaf Storm, Energy Ball, Sucker Punch, and Acupressure. Okay. Scream's average. The Storm Drain could be absolutely broken at times for certain Pokemon, but if it's not going up against that, it's remarkably average. Crustle with Shell Smash, X-Scissor, Rock Tomb, and Body Press. Not bad. Kind of screaming average to me. Nothing too spectacular about it. Its stats aren't great. It has good attacks, but its attacks aren't actually good attacks. Rock Tomb is not that great. But X-Scissor is fine. Body Press is fine with its defense. Sigilyph is a Pokemon that many people pick like instantaneously, so let's see if we can figure out why. Psychic is okay. Rain Dance is very situational at best. Air Slash is okay. And then it has Flash Cannon, so it's a remarkably average Pokemon. I forget what Wonder Skin does. Let me just look at it really fast. Status moves are more likely to miss. Have an accuracy of 50%. So, yeah, so Wonder Skin is good. It's something you don't hate having. But it's still pretty average. It's not, it's not as, crazy. People see Sigilyph and they lose their shit. They instantly jump on it. They're like, they want it. They use it very, very fast. So Cofagrigus with Shadow Ball, Haze, Psychic, and Wonder Room. It's going to kind of fall into the whole like Dusclops situation, like where it's like, yeah, it's going to stay around for a while, but it's not going to really help the team that much. It's not great. It's not as bad as Dusclops, but it's getting close to it. It's fine. You'll survive. You won't be the reason why your team loses hearts, but you're not going to be the greatest teammate. So that's all I have to say about Cofagrigus. And you have Garbodor. Aftermath is always okay. Gunk Shot, Sludge Bomb, Drain Punch, and Venom Drench. Fighting, Poison. Below average, average, below average, average. average, below average, average, yeah. Mintino with Echoed Voice, Tail Slap, Light Screen, and Triple Axle. Triple Axle is what's going to be a saving grace. If it didn't have that, it would be below average, but because of that, it's going to be in average. Ice moves are just that important. Vanillish has Ice Beam, Blizzard, Hyper Voice, and Mist. It goes in average because Stab Ice is good. Ice typing, again, just by itself carries that much. Emolga with Acrobatics, Rising Voltage, Endure, and Electro Web. This Pokemon sucks, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's not very good at all. It can help set up speed with, Acrobatics. Rising Voltage is fine, and it's just not a good Pokemon. He's going to be down. He's not the worst, but he's down here. He's definitely down here. Escavalier with Drill Run, Razor Shield, Fury Cutter, and Taunt. Lackluster Pokemon here. Drill Run is fine. Fury Cutter kind of sucks, if I'm being honest. Razor Shell is definitely below average Pokemon. He's in the D tier, pushing E. Mungus with Clear Smog, Rage Powder, Giga Drain, and Venoshock. Not good. Not good. If it had Spore, now you'd be talking, but without it, I see Fungus. It's an E-tier mon. It should be Mungus, unfortunately. I have Fungus here, but you know what I'm talking about. Definitely below, definitely down there. Redirection towards it is not going to be great. Clear Smog, sure, it's going to hurt your team more than it helps you. Giga Drain and Venoshock just don't do much coming out of it. Alright, Jellicent with Dazzling Gleam, Dive, Trick Room, and Icy Wind. A couple move changes, and this Pokemon becomes so much better. If it had Scald, for instance, we're talking about a potential A tier pick. Trick Room is cool. Dazzling Gleam is good. Icy Wind is good. You would want Ice Beam over Icy Wind, unfortunately, because we're doing Trick Room. If you're going to go slow, then why do we want to make the opponent slow? The whole 9 yards. So it kind of it's okay. It's high average. It could have had so much more. It could have been an A tier. It's high average, low B. It's a little bit above average. It's a little bit above average, but it's not great, It's not great. Yeah. Galvantula with Thunder, Bug Buzz, Electro Ball, and Electro Web. Compound Ice to help with the accuracy. Good special attacker. I will say that. Solid special attack with 97. It's fine. Throwing out Thunder left and right makes it an average Pokemon to good effectivity, but it's kind of pigeonholed because it doesn't really have that much utility. There's not really many ways to use it. Clangalang with Charge Beam, Rising Voltage, Flash Cannon, and Power Gem. The Clang and Kling are kind of bad. Not going to even beat around the bush with these guys. Charge Beam is meh. Rising Voltage is okay. Flash Cannon is fine. Power Gem is good. So minus and plus, forget it. Grinding your gears, get impact. This is bad. Honestly, Clang might be better than Kling, as funny as that is. Kling is here, and Kling is it's probably one of the higher E tier ones. It's really low. Yeah, it's a low D. These guys, they're not fun to use. They don't really help the team that much. Its attack, Kling's attack is not that high, right? It's not that high. I mean, I know that gear grind does increase it. It's okay. I guess. They put them in D. Yeah, they belong in D. Elgem, Spanning Force, Meteor Beam, Dark Pulse, and Round. Okay, there's okay stat. Spread. Okay, not great. It's fine. Slow. Behem. I called him Elgem. I'm sorry about that. It's Behem. He's okay. High D tier. Low C tier. Nothing that screams fantastic. Lampert, Burning, Jealousy, Skitter Smack, Inferno, and Trick Room. If you can land the Inferno, it's pretty good. If you don't, that's kind of scary. You're going to be in high D as well. You could do something that's okay, but really, you get beat around too. Inferno with Burn. You're low D. You're in that low end of D, pushing E. Fracture, Giga Impact, Outrage, Breaking Swipe, and X Scissor. You don't really have not much. Yeah, there's not much diversity in your moves. Best move Outrage, you get stuck in it, which is probably okay, but yeah, you see either Dragon or Bust, and if you're going up against a Dragon, you're going to be super effective against 2. Good attack power. Nothing that really stands out to it. Giga Impact is Yeah, so you really got that one pitch, and it's not like I like Absol's one pitch better than your pitch. You have a one pitch too, but it's not as good. Mienshao with Aurasphere, Wide Guard, Rock Tomb, and Mega Kick. Now we're talking. Aurasphere, Rock Tomb, yeah, some coverage there. Fighting isn't the best. It's not the best, but Rock is okay. Rock Tomb, lowering speed is always a plus. Not great, not a great move. Mienshao is all the way over here, right? It was mistakenly misplaced, yeah. Oh, I completely skipped a bunch. I don't know why I went to Mienshao. So Mienshao is like a B tier. Wide Guard helps it definitely in B tier. Otherwise, it'd be a low C tier. But I skipped a bunch of Pokemon by accident. Going back here to Baratic with Body Press, Blizzard, Frost Breath, and Brine. It's very, very, very unfortunate that Baratic doesn't have an attacking ice move. Like, why not have Icicle Crash? Why do we have 2 special attacks on Baratic? Like, it's 70 versus 130. Like, come on. This would be the premier ice type attacker, at least, if that was the case. Body Press is fine, coming off of a 80 base power, Everything about this is fine. It goes from a Pokemon that was potentially A tier, stays in C tier. It's a C tier mod with that being the case. Cragganol with Blizzard, Ice Beam, Reflect, and Solar Beam. Solar Beam is a very, very interesting finishing move. I just want to look at your stats really fast. I'm not super familiar Cragganol's stat spread. Okay special attack. Good special defense. Crappy defense, decent speed. Yeah, this is a Pokemon that you'll welcome on. He is he's better than Baratic, I'll give you that. Baratic is like low. Cragganol is like high, pushing B tier actually, because Ice is just that big of a deal. I mean, I don't want to like super duper overestimate or overevaluate what Ice is, but it does its job. Like if I had like a ground type, like there's a reason why like the ground and rock types, are in this tier, right? They're up here, and even like Dark got pushed up by quite a bit. There's not really many like like Dark users that use their typing effectively that are down. I'll put you up here. Dark is good. Dark is very good against a lot, There's a reason why there's not many Dark Pokemon users down here in these tiers. Like, I mean, of course you have Lanoon, who is absolute shit. It's funny how that's in there too, but not many ground, not many, who use their moves correctly with the right stab, with the right, balanced attack or special attack that are down here. There's a lot of reason for that because they have a lot of utility in these formats. So yeah, that does boost it quite a bit. A Celgore with Struggle Bug, Acid Spray, Rain Dance, and Bug Puzz. Ugh. Oh boy. We have a bit of a misfortunate one here, I think. 100 special attack, which is cool. Very good base attack. Bad defenses. Yeah, Celgore. Do have Bug Buzz, which is pretty good. You're going to be spamming Bug Buzz. Acid Spray is not great for coverage. Average-ish at best. Average-ish at best because you're so fast. You're going to get that move off twice probably. It's average-ish. Somewhere in here. Could be worse, honestly. That Bug Buzz pitch is actually pretty good. So, Stunfisk with Thunderbolt, Earth Power, Muddy Water, Electric Terrain. Let's look at your spread really fast. Regular Flat Boy Stunfisk. Special attack, defense. The defenses are pretty good. Very low speed. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Sunfist is like surprisingly pretty solid. He might actually be like a B tier mon. Like he has good coverage. You know, Thunderbolt, Earth Power, Muddy. Yeah, that's good coverage. He's a very solid Pokemon. He's a very, very solid Pokemon. He might be flirting with A tier actually. He's like he uses his stats well. He's just really, really slow but everything else is like decent defense. Okay attack. Like it's okay. I would gladly take it on the team. Like Stunfisk is like borderline A tier. Like surprisingly, Stunfisk is like borderline A tier. You know, all those moves like water, ground, electric, like they're all above average. You know, water being the least of that, but not bad. You got the ground type, yeah. Earth power, that's fine. That is fine. And static. When I say static, the paralysis. If you get hit, you know, paralysis, like that's solid. Yeah, he's an A tier mod for sure. Conversely, Earth power is the only real thing you got going on here. What is Mimicry again? Oh yeah, it changes your based on terrain, which is actually not great. There's an odd strat here using the terrain pulse. It's only because Earth power, even then it's not that great. Yeah, you go from A to low C with that, the two different ones. You know, it's like Marth and Roy for a second. Like you're kind of D tier. You're like a low C tier. It's probably Martha's probably a bigger adjustment actually than the other one, but you get what I'm saying. Like you know, they're supposed to be like you know mirror fighters, and like they're not. They're just not. We don't have much more to go. We are really rolling through this. This video is going to be long. It's going to be quite long, but I'm happy that we are this far in. That is really sick. But continuing in, Manshell we've already done. Drudagon, Lash Out, Doobie Wing, Iron Head, and Dig. Nothing with Stab, which is interesting. Drudagon, not the fastest guy. Good attack, I will say. Good attack. Rolling on through here. Good attack. It's just a, you know, Lash Out, good. Very good. Dual Beat Wing, eh. Iron Head, eh. Dig, pretty good. So he's not A tier, but he's B tier. You know, he has some. You're picking him up. You know, B tier for sure. Hits a lot of things hard for super effective, which is good. Doesn't really have you know himself. He's doing it by being something else. But with that said, Golurk, Shadow Punch coming off of him is going to do some decent damage. Golurk, let's see what your stats are looking like. 55 special attack. And Scorching Sands is a special attack, so unfortunately that's going to hold him back quite a bit. Shadow Punch is okay. Shadow Punch is going to do a lot of damage coming off of him. He's going to have that one pitch, so he's going to be average, but if it was like Earthquake, we're talking about like B, maybe even like an A tier. But that one pitch is good enough to put him in C tier. Okay to use. You might be switching him off for something else further on, but he's definitely at least average. That one really strong pitch is good enough to keep it going. Bisharp with Night Slash, Poison Jab, Psycho Cut, and Metal Sound. Night Slash is a good pitch by itself. It's good enough to put him in average. Poison Jab and Psycho Cut are not the greatest coverage, but that alone is good enough to put him in higher average. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have like the coverage, the type coverage to really like carry himself any higher. It's another like Absol and Golurk, we just said. You know, it's another one of the situations where they have one good pitch and not much else to show for it, right? So yeah, we're gonna have Bouffalant with Body Slam, Lash Out, Smart Strike, and Superpower. Okay, Sap Sipper is okay, I guess. Body Slam coming off of what kind of attack stat do we have again? What kind of attack stat are we rocking here? Bouffalant has a good attack stat. 110. Body Slam is a good pitch. Lash Out is good coverage. Superpower is good coverage too. This is a good Dynamax target. It's good. It's good Pokemon, decent stats. Hits a lot of things pretty strong. Yeah, he's a B tier. I'll throw him in B tier. Heatmore is next with Fire Lash, Overheat, Sunny Day, and Solar Beam. Covers well on himself, but doesn't have the best of utility. You know, the fire typing is pretty good. You will use fire typing sometimes, but it's average. It's average, and grass is below average. Sunny Day does help it a little bit, so it's probably on the lower end of average. But it's still a usable mon regardless. Durant with Thunderfang, X Scissors, Metal Sound, and Metal Claw. Very unfortunate, not a strong Pokemon. X Scissor is okay. Unfortunately, without some other moves, it's not that strong. It's going to be on the lower end of average. Good Pokemon in some places, but just doesn't have, as good. It's on the same tier as Heatmore. If I'm going to give Heatmore, saying it has a good pitch, then yeah, sure, Durant has an okay pitch too. So. Back on. Let's see. We next have Diggersby. Diggersby with huge power. Good to keep in mind with Stone Edge, Stomping Tantrum, Dig, and Quick Attack. That's cool. That's cool. I did not even know that Diggersby had huge power. That's kind of cool. It's actually makes me kind of regret maybe not using him in doubles. I knew that he was decent, but I didn't think he was that decent. Probably a bit of an overlooked mon because it is an early catch, but it becomes a 112 base attack with decent defenses. This is definitely like another one of those good splits. It's like another Sandslash. Like Sandslash had good moves. It's going into A tier. Like that's a strong dude. Diggersby unfortunately is missing from the list, so I'll put Diggersby in A tier, and I'll put that in the listings. A tier. Good moves all the way around for sure. Quick Attack is even cool too. It has its own utility at times for sure. Stone Edge and Stomping Tantrum is good. It's good. Talonflame with Tailwind, which is good. Hurricane, not so good. Steel Flame and Flamethrower. Hurricane, Steel Wind, Flamethrower. It's fine. It's good. Definitely has its place. The best move in terms of damage against others, Steel is below average, Flying is below average, Flamethrower is average, Tailwind is above average. So he's screaming like an average Pokemon for me. Tailwind is cool. Sometimes it's not enough. I'll remember that. You gotta remind yourself that sometimes Tailwind itself is not enough to take on some legendaries with some of your, some guys in tow. But in other ways, it could also be pretty good. So. It can go both ways in that one. That's why we're going to keep them in C tier. Pangrow, a Bullet Punch, Hammer Arm, Darkest Lariat, and Coaching. That's what we're talking about. If you don't put this thing out against something that is Fairy typing, you're going to have a really, really good time. And even if you did, it's not the worst thing in the world because it has Iron Fist with the Bullet Punch. Darkest Lariat is fine. Hammer Arm is fine. Darkest Lariat is very good actually, and that's Coaching. So this is like an A tier mon. Coaching again is very, very good. We're talking about a Pokemon that's borderline B tier with Coaching, so that's going to put it in the A tier. Way up here. Double with No Guard with Iron Head, Sword Stance, Sacred Sword, and Aerial Ace. That No Guard unfortunately kind of goes to waste. It doesn't really do much for it. The other moves are kind of lackluster on it. It's not going to do great with Iron Head. Is fine, but again, Steel is not the greatest. Fighting is okay, and Aerial Ace is kind of meh. So the Blade is actually going to be in the D tier. He's kind of below. He's not that good. Good defensive typing, but we're not really focused on that. We're focusing on how good we are throughout the stages. Malamar. I'm going to say right now a bit of a lackluster Pokemon. It doesn't really do much. It's not very strong. It's exceedingly average. It has Expanding Force. It has Night Slash. Night Slash specifically being a good move. It's remarkably average. I used to be kind of thrilled to see it in the queue, but now I'm just it's fine. Barbarical, Razor Shell, Blizzard, Skull Bash, and Poison Jab. Not great with this guy. Shell Smash, it misses quite a bit. Skull Bash sucks. Poison Jab is fine. It's a high D tier Pokemon, but nothing more. Heliolisk. Electro Ball, Agility, Round, and Mud Slap. A below average Pokemon. This is screaming below average Pokemon all the way across. Agility is fine. Round sucks. Mud Slap sucks. This is a below average Pokemon. Let me just say something really fast. Heliolisk, what is your special attack? This might actually decide between this might actually decide you between D and E tier. You're a possible E tier candidate. Yeah, Electro Ball. Yeah, Electro Ball could be terrible, honestly. It could be absolutely terrible if you're slower than your opponent, because you only have 109 base speed, right? Yeah, you're quite in this format. In this format, especially, like, yeah, agility to set up, sure, but you need to set up first. I'm gonna put you in E tier. If you set up agility, this Pokemon is now like a high C, borderline B, but you need to use a move in order for that to happen. So the fact that you have to set up and like with those low defenses, do you really think you're gonna survive? Like, you have bad defenses. Like it's a gambit. You're not gonna rock that gambit 4 times in a row and be successful. I'll tell you that. Tyrantrum, Scale Shot, Rock Blast, Superpower, and Body Slam coming off of a strong jaw. Nothing uses strong jaw effectively here, unfortunately, for it. Scale Shot is okay. Rock Blast is cool. Superpower is cool. Body Slam is cool. A lot of risk here. Some risk reward here. Tyrantrum can do some damage. It could also be a hindrance on the team. For that reason, I'm going to put him in low B. Put him like middle low B. Aurorus with Body Slam, Thunder, Ancient Power, and Thunder Wave. This thing is missing an Ice move very, very badly. What does Refrigerate do? Just remind myself really fast. Normal moves become Ice moves. So Body Slam is now an Ice move. I take it back. Aurorus, suddenly, very interesting Pokemon. What is your base attack? 77, but it's boosted. It's coming off of a boosted attack with, yeah. You know what? Aurorus, very interesting. What's your speed? 58. We're talking about a borderline A tier Pokemon here. He's definitely high B. At least high B. Pushing A. Fighting is really scary for it. Not going to lie. Not going to go against too many fighting types, though. But Aurorus, that is not a bad mon. To be seen again, perhaps low A. Aurorus and low A. I've seen that thing do a lot of work. And it's one of those Pokemon that I didn't give the respect that I probably should give it to. Holucha with Poison Jab and Throat Chop and Low Sweep, like... What's your base power again? I kind of forget. It's 20 base, 65 base. Lowering speed stat, like, it's fine. It's fine. Throat Chop is okay for coverage. It's a below average Pokemon. I mean, it's an average tier, but it's on the lower end. It's down here. The Dene is Entrainment, Thunder, Dazzling Gleam, and Substitute. Below average Pokemon. It just depends. It's just a matter of like how below average we're talking about. The Dene, what kind of speed are you rocking here? 101, pretty good. Defenses are terrible. Special attack is bad. You're probably an E-tier mon. Thunder doesn't hit every single time. Dazzling Gleam kind of, yeah. You're probably an E-tier. You're a low E-tier mon. You're like knocking on the door of F. You do have 2 moves that are stab. You're better than Jigglypuff, I'll say that, but oh boy, is it not by that much. Klefki with Light Screen, Crafty, Play Rough, Flash Cannon. Klefki could be so much better than this. What does Crafty Shield do again? Remind me. Klefki could be a lot better than this. All right. Remarkably unremarkable. Remarkably unremarkable. Probably E tier. Trevenant. Harvest is cool. Leech, Horn Leech, Reflect, Drain Punch, and Trick Room. Average-ish. Reflect is cool. Trick Room can be cool. Horn Leash and Drain Punch, kind of they're alright. Drain Punch is okay. He's average-ish. Throw him somewhere in the average. Gourgeist, Mystical Fire, Shadow Sneak, Worry Seed, and Scary Face. Below average, not great. Probably an E-tier mon, honestly. It does get it lowering speed, but there's a lot of things to do it much better. Gourgeist is not good. Charge-a-Bug, speaking of not great. String Shot, Eerie Impulse, Spark, and Dig. It's just like... It's bad. It's bad. Let me look at its stats really fast. Like, this is not good. Defense, low HP. And it's pretty bad. It's not good. String Shot, crap. Area plus Spark, Dig. It's pushing F. It's pushing F, but it's right there with the Dene. It's better than the Dene. I'll give it that. It's not by much though. Vikavolt, Spark, Mud Slap, Poison Jab, Bug Buzz. Fine. D tier mon. Rabombi is Pollen Puff, Drain Kiss, Aromatherapy, and Fake Tears. Fortunately, it doesn't have Speed Swap, which would be kind of cool coming off of this thing. Pollen Puff is fine. Anything with Pollen Puff is pretty decent. Fake Tears are meh. It's high D. It's not really doing much in the way of damage, unfortunately. It doesn't really help the team. It just helps the support role, but it can only help one at a time, which is unfortunate. Lycanroc, a very commonly used Pokemon on my side. Accelerock, Stone Edge, Round, and Howl. Very, very much pigeonholed into the speedy rock type, which it by itself is not terrible, but it's, again, one pitch, good enough to keep it average, but nothing else besides that. Other Lycanroc with Stone Edge, Brick Break, Taunt, and Crunch. Now we're talking about a Pokemon that's more along the B tier. Some good coverage there. Basic Lycanroc is fine. This one is just better. Better coverage, the whole 9 yards. Mudsdale with Lash Out, Superpower, Sand Tomb, and Rock Smash. Rock Smash does suck, unfortunately. It's unfortunate that that's its final move because everything else is looking really good. Lash Out, Sand Tomb. Sand Tomb is kind of meh too, honestly. This could be a really good mon. It just doesn't have the right moves. So it becomes a mon that could be borderline A. It's just an average Pokemon because it just doesn't have the right moves to really take advantage of its stats. Yeah, you're really gonna use Lash Out over and over again because Sand Tomb really does suck. It has its coverage. It has coverage. It doesn't do things great, but it has coverage. Liquidation, Lunge, Poison Jab. What are we doing here? Water Absorb is okay. Trainment kind of makes it useless. Attack stat is not great. It has decent special defense, okay defense, not good speed. Liquidation kind of sucks. Lunge is kind of Poison Jab is kind of This thing is a below average mon if I've ever seen one. It's not. Oh yeah. So Aquanid is low D. Air Aquanid. D tier. Pushing E tier, honestly. It has some coverage, but it's not good coverage. It doesn't really save itself. What does Lunge do again? Attack stat. Bug with 8 base. Like these are all regular attacking moves. Like if its base attack was higher, then we'd be talking more. But it's not a good attacker, so it's fine. It's just like it's D. It's D. Lurantis with Leaf Storm, Weather Bolt, X Scissor, and Round. We're talking about another Demon. Lurantis is just not that good. Leaf Storm after one Leaf Storm, now what? Like you just destroyed your attack for the rest of the game. I mean, X Scissor I guess is fine, but for the most part, it's got the one shot. And that's about it. Shiinotic with Strength Sap, Moonblast, Rain Dance, and Weather Ball. Weird Pokemon. Strength Sap can be good in certain circumstances, but it's not great. We're gonna talk about D tier for this. It's okay. It's like a high D. It has some use sometimes, but it's not that good. Salazzle with its speed, with Flamethrower, Cross Poison, Drench, Venom Drench, and Toxic. It's okay. I'll give it average. It's fast enough to warrant some use sometimes, but not use all the time. Beware is next. Beware has Double Edge, Baby Doll Eyes, Payback, and Giga Impact. Double Edge by itself gives it a decent pitch. It'd be great if it had a fighting type move, but it doesn't. You know, it's just Payback is fine. It's all right. I mean, it's all right. Drop Kick, Acrobatic, Swagger, Aromatherapy. This is not great. It's like C. It's like average. It's fine. Nothing too impressive there. Comfey. With Floral Healing, Drain Kiss after you, and Energy Ball. This is a de facto Healmon. Not great. Not great. It's going to be in the D tier because it only heals one of your Pokemon. If your opponent has strong spread, like you're kind of screwed. Like it's like high D, low C. Give it low C. It does its job well in certain circumstances, but usually it doesn't. Instruct is okay for Orngaru. Light Screen, Psychic, and Side Shock. It's really pigeonholed. It's more of a D tier mon. It's kind of like a helping hand situation. You can tell your teammate to use the attack twice. I'll give it C. I'll give it C tier for that reason. It can do work sometimes. Passimian with Brick Break, Rock Tomb, Acrobatic, Substitute. Yeah, you're average. Average is fine. Let's see. Palisand, Terrain Pole, Scorching Sand, Shore Up, and Shadow Ball. Let me look at your stats a little bit more. Deserves a second look. You put this thing in. You put this thing in a Sandstorm, and it's actually really good. It's actually kind of decent. You know, it has self-recovery with Shore Up. Shadow Ball and Scorching Sands are good. Terrain Pulse is fine. So with that said, he's a good B tier mon. I'll put him in the B tier. Someone that you're definitely looking forward to use if you are lucky enough to have him. Not quite A tier, but like getting close to it. Not bad. Close you out. Next is Pyukumuku with Toxic Taunt, Venom Drench, and Counter. Oh boy, Pyukumuku. It's kind of an unfortunate Pokemon. Good defenses, not gonna lie. Could make use of Toxic, I guess. It takes too long to make it work, though. I mean, Venom Drench is a good support move. Taunt is an okay support move. Toxic is okay. Counter is awful on him. I'm not going to lie. Counter is awful. Pyukumuku might be an F tier. Pyukumuku might be F tier. I think he's F tier. Yeah, he takes too long to help, and when he does help, he's not that great. You know, stat changing, you know, stat resetting, do all that work for nothing. Yeah, Pyukumuku is not what you're looking forward to using. Tojimadaru. No. Togedemaru. Togedemaru. As I close them up by accident. Togedemaru. Togedemaru. Let's see here. Decent attack. Good typing. Nuzzle is cool. Poison Jab, Electro Web, and Iron Head. Sturdy is cool too. Just say average. You know, Paralysis is good. Paralysis is totally good. It's not sleep, but Paralysis is fine. Doesn't really do much damage after that. Iron Head is your main attack after that, and that's not that great. Again, not many Pokemon can succumb to that, but just the fact that you have like free Paralysis and might be able to take speed control off of that is actually pretty good. Mimikyu with Shadow Claw, Slash, Baby Doll Eyes, and Curse. This thing with better moves is a great Pokemon, but with the moves that it has, it's an okay Pokemon. You know, Disguise is great. Disguise is great whenever you're fighting NPCs. It's very good. Baby Doll Eyes is okay too. It's above average. It's above average. I'll give Mimikyu a B tier placement for sure. B tier is cool for this thing. It could be a lot better. It could easily, in some cases, it could be even like an S tier. But its moves just don't, aren't that vast, right? Greedent with Gyro Ball, Psychic Feign, Swords Dance, and Body Slam. Greedent kind of sucks. Yeah, he can Sword Dance, Body Slam eventually, but eventually is eventually. It's an E tier, nothing special. Orbeetle with after use Psychic, Psybeam, and Struggle Bug. Deserves a second look to see just how bad this thing is. Because it's like Max Gravitas, which isn't great. It's actually one of the worst. It's one of the worst G-Max moves there is. Yeah. $45, $110, $120. It's average. It's average. It's kind of lucky to just be average, but it is average. Thievul. Foul Play, Snarl, Taunt, and Burning Jealousy. Below average for sure. Below average for sure. Just how below average are we talking? Attack is bad. Special attack is okay. Defenses are atrocious. Foul Play, Snarl, Burning Jealousy. This is a bad Pokemon. This is an E tier Pokemon. It's an E tier. Somewhere in the middle. Eldegoss with Light Screen, Weather Ball, Cotton Guard, and Leaf Storm. Not a good Pokemon. Effect Spore is good. Effect Spore, if you get attacked and you put a good status on your opponent, that's good. That happens pretty often. Not much to say about it though. It's D tier at best. It's in the D tier. Double with Grassy Glide, Mega Kick, Body Press, and Substitute. Not a good Pokemon. Not a good Pokemon. It's below average. It's also probably a D tier Pokemon. Pushing U tier, but it's in the D tier. Dreadnought with Razor Shell. Taking no advantage of its strong shell. Razor Shell, Skitter Smack, Smart Strike, and Rock Slide. Rock Slide is good. Rock Slide helps a lot. Razor Shell is okay. Its attack stat is okay. What's its attack stat? I'd imagine it's kind of high. Yeah, 115, right? So, yeah, 115. It's average. It's average. It's good. Unfortunately for it, water typing is not the best for these things, but water typing is okay. Rock typing is good. Rock typing is good. It's borderline. It's high. It's high. It's high in here. I mean, it's borderline B tier. It's in B tier. It's B tier. Yeah, Rock Slide doing that much damage. It's B tier. Let's see here. We have Crunch, Rising Voltage, Boltund. Yeah. It's average. Helping Hand helps it. It's probably a D tier mon with a Helping Hand, which puts into low C. Carcoal with Overheat, Fire Spin, Reflect, and Rock Slide. Those are good. Those are good. Has better attacks than its evolved form, I'll tell you that. Attack is not good though, so it's not doing a lot of damage. It's like relatively Fire Spin, Rock Slide. It's not doing that much damage with it. It's probably D tier. It has its place in a few matchups, but overall it's not that great. And Colossal. Colossal with much better stats. 80s in its attacks. Let's say Colossal. Meteor Beam, Flamethrower, Scald. Scald is kind of cool. I'll give Scald. Scald gives me an eyebrow raise. It's high C tier, low B tier, low B tier. Sandaconda with Scorching Sand, Scale Shot, Skitter, Smack, and Glare. It's okay. What's its stat spread again? Not much in the way of special attacks, so Scorching Sands is not great on it. Not gonna lie, not gonna lie. Let's see. Skitter Smack is not gonna be good enough of it either. Oh, Skitter Smack is attack, right? Skitter Smack is okay. Let's see. Skitter Smack is okay. Scale Shot is okay. It's below average. It doesn't have a stab good move that works off of its its pluses, so it's a D tier mon. It's not something you're looking forward to using. Cramorant with Dive, Endure, Amnesia, and Throat Chop. Gulp Missile is okay. You're not taking a lot of hits with Cramorant, so that makes me wonder if you're gonna get the Pikachu that often. Endure kind of helps with that a little bit. It's low C. It's low C. And not much better than that. Barraskewda with Aqua Jet, which is a complete waste, Scale Shot, Assurance, and Endure. That's a very unfortunate Pokemon. It's going to be like an E tier. Not using its stats at all to its best ability. You're much better off with Waterfall or some other hard-hitting water type like Liquidation or something like that. Aqua Jet is completely wasted on it. Everything else is not good on it. Assurance is a decent move, but it's not enough to save it. Toxicity with Rising Voltage, Thunderwave, Hyper Voice, and Tearful Look is okay. It's pretty average. Average mon, nothing too crazy. It's fine. It's fine. It does the job. This is average. So put them somewhere in the C tier. Scorch with Flamethrower, Scorching Sands, Venoshock, and Salam. Let me check out the stats really fast before I make a quick judgment. I think I know what my judgment is, but let me see if it's one I agree with. Special attack is 90. It's unfortunate because I knew that the attack was higher. I knew the attack was higher coming off of this guy. So Scorching Sands, Venoshock, it's okay. Fire and sand, it is not stab and poison. It's a C tier. It could have done better. Could have been higher, but it'll sit at home in C tier. Grapplock with Topsy-Turvy, Drain Punch, Muddy Water, and Focus Blast. An unfortunate Pokemon. Drain Punch is good. I mean, it's not an unfortunate Pokemon. Drain Punch, Stab, Attack Power. It puts it in the C. It's a good pitch. It's the only real pitch that it has, but it's a good pitch. Poltegeist, Sucker Punch, Psyshock, Giga Drain, Aromatherapy. Let me look into you a little bit. Special attack is where it's at with you. Regular attack, not so much. Not even near as much. So yeah, Sucker Punch is kind of wasted on it, which leaves you with Psyshock, which is bad too, and Giga Drain. So yeah, you're a bad Pokemon. You're gonna be in low D. You're in the low D tier. And next we have Hatterene with Expanding Force, Play Rough, Life Dew, and Safeguard. Play Rough is a bit wasted, which means you kind of rely on Expanding Force, which is okay. Life Dew is cool too, so we'll put you in C tier. You're a C tier. You're a D tier without Expanding Force or Life Dew, but those two together help. We have Grimmsnarl with Power Punch, Dark Pulse, Power Swap, and Confide. What does Confide do again? Remind me. Lowers it by 1 stage. Okay, this is not a great Pokemon. Dark Pulse by itself is okay. It's going to put it in C tier because it's an okay pitch. Prankster, Power... yeah, so yeah, Grimmsnarl, you're going to be in the C tier, but the lower end of C tier. Kind of average. Obstagoon with Lash Out, Thunderbolt, Facade, and Screech. It's not bad. Lash Out is okay. It's a good pitch. Thunderbolt and Facade for coverage. Oh, Thunderbolt for coverage. Facade doesn't really do much, so it's all right. It's like a low B tier mon. It's like low B tier. You take Obstagoon, sure. Berserker is Metal Claw, Amnesia, Lash Out, and Thunder. Metal Claw coming off of him is not great. Thunder is definitely not going to be great. Lash Out is not great either, so he's probably D tier. Somewhere up in the middle, upper middle D tier. Alchemy with Decorate is always cool. Dazzling Gleam, Mystical Fire, Mystical Leap. Decorate is actually pretty cool. Put it on the right Pokemon, it could actually help quite a bit. So I'm going to put him in the B tier. Decorate is definitely a good support move. And it can do some damage all itself. It can do some stuff too. Phalanx, First Impression, Swords Dance, Smart Strike, and Brick Break. Pretty good. You can only use First Impression on the first move, but that's probably all you're ever going to use it is on that first move. I've seen it put some work in. Low B. Low B tier. It's on the low B tier. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's better. It's better than it is good. All right. So Hydro Pump, Thunder, Acupressure, and Pincurchin. Pincurchin is good. Like if it had Rising Voltage, it'd be better. But as it stands, it's like high D, low C. Setting up Electric Terrain is pretty cool. If you have Pokemon that, work off of it, like if you have any of the Raichus or anybody that has like, let's see, Rising Voltage, you have a good teammate, but that's going to be far and few between. You can't really plan for that. And he's not a Pokemon you're going to have like, all the way through a run. So Pincurchin is going to suffer a little bit for that reason. Frostmoth with Weather Ball, Tailwind, Struggle Bug, and Hurricane. Very, very, very unfortunate that it doesn't have the like an ice move off the bat. Frostmoth is kind of bad actually. Now I'm looking at it like a second time. Tailwind does help. It's a low average. It's low average. All right, and we have Indeedee with Expanding Force. It doesn't have. If it had Psychic Terrain, if it had its ability to do that, this would be so good. But it doesn't. So you have Expanding Force, Calm Mind, Shadow Ball, and Mystical Fire. It's fine. It's average. Could do a couple things, have a Calm Mind or two. Now you're talking, but off the bat, it's kind of just eh. Morpeko with Aura Wheel, Dark Pulse, Thunder Pulse, and Ice Fang. This thing can do damage. It has the moves in the right places. So for that reason, it will be in the B tier. Copperajah with Iron Defense, Body Press, Flash Cannon, Steel Roller. Unfortunately for this guy, you're kind of pigeonholed to Body Press. Iron Defense post Body Press is cool, but yet it takes a long time to set up with his speed being so low, so he's kind of a D tier Pokemon. Duraludon with Breaking Swipe, Thunder Wave, Iron Head, and Thunderbolt. Pretty good. Good Pokemon all the way around. Strong dude. Worth putting in the B tier. And last but not least, Dracoloak. Dragon Rush, Assurance, Will-O-Wisp, and Shadow Ball. Pretty good. Will-O-Wisp helps. He's probably high C tier. So with that said, that actually goes through all 200-ish. I know that there were a few missing. I think there's about 215, 216 Pokemon total. Again, Butterfree is in C. Kangaskhan is in B. Digger's B is an A, and Aquanid is in D tier. But yeah, you're really looking out for Nidoking, Kingdra, any of these guys up here. Any of these guys, you are jumping on every single time, using them to very, very high effectiveness. And a bunch of these guys too are absolutely phenomenal. A lot of these guys can outperform even the S tier given a certain circumstance. Here, absolutely. If you find something that is weak to especially the one-pitch Pokemon, like your Absol, like I keep saying, like just looking really fast, like Crocodile, or there's a lot of like one-pitchers in here that do really, really well given that certain circumstance, but kind of struggle in other situations. And here, yeah, don't even think about it down here. These have some utility if you're trying to trade or in low health. You wouldn't hate getting these Pokemon, but you'd wish for better. Now you're talking about some real filth going down here. So yeah, that's the tier list. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I wonder if this is the first of its kind. And yeah, I guess we're going to sign off for here. That was a long episode. But I'm going to sign off for now. And thank you very much for watching. Feel free to like, subscribe. I'm on more days than not at JT Corona, Twitch/JT Corona. I'm kind of stumbling at the last bit. Not the best at outros, but again, early channel, starting to rise up through the ranks a little bit, starting to learn how to do things. We're going to only get bigger and better. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later.